Live. There we go. Hello, everybody. If anybody's there, it's been a while. I know. I apologize. Ah, I took way too long editing that, going through that live stream, the David and Sakura and Neo. Oh my God. I need to stop spending so much time on things that is probably doesn't make much sense to. Yeah, I took a lot of time doing that. But anyway, I am back on the Ciders case. A lot of new stuff have came out, so I actually ordered the files. So I have what was that? Hold on a second. Look like PayPal or something. Anyway, so I have yeah, I'm dealing with this PayPal. Somebody freaking chart they're ripping me off, so I'm trying to fight that. Um I had it with my chat GPT. Me and my chat GPT just got into it because long story, but oh my gosh, it just wasted a lot of my time and I am mad. Mela, you know. Thanks to Mela for helping me out. You really saved the day today. I need to get my hair cut. I've got to tell my mom. My mom cuts my hair. Anyway, so as you can see, I don't really look in the mirror that much. I feel like when I go live, I actually look at myself for the first time for a minute because my freaking video is up. So I'm always like, eh. Anyway, I'm not a mirror looker. Um, so anyway, let's go through this stuff. So I got all the documents from like the 2020, 2021 charges, um, more like neglect type stuff. So there's two long documents I want to read through. So this might be a part one, part two, or because first I would like to actually go through the SA stuff going on. Have you guys, who's aware of all this new stuff with the Ciders case? It is way more deranged than we knew, than I even could guess. It's sick. Let me put on my earphones. All right. Um, I almost think though. See, here's the thing. Let me know what you guys want to do. I have the all the files from like the 2020, 2021 things as far as like the children and their teachers and all the stuff, the neglect and all the stuff going on with that stuff with the Gary and Elizabeth. I'm trying to think how to do this. I'm sure because that stuff's really interesting and like different things, you know, it's very telling on some of the stuff. But I also want to go through the new stuff with the charges. So we have, if you guys have been following, so Gary just got arraigned today on new charges, like SA charges basically. And Elizabeth's are coming. Elizabeth's are not in the system yet because I think because she hasn't been officially arraigned. Because if you go on the if you go on Vinton County and you go under, you know, Gary or Elizabeth, only Gary's come up right now. I don't think it means because Elizabeth's not going to be charged. I think because Elizabeth hasn't been arraigned yet. So she's going to get, I guarantee she'll be getting those same charges, at least from when I type it in. Yeah. I know it has been crazy. Here, let me share my screen. Hold on. Let me get started on this. I got Zeke beside me. I have this camera ready if he decides to jump down. He was yelling at me earlier, so I have a feeling he's going to be a problem. He's so needy. Like he needs my attention. I'm like, I need some space. I had to have a talk with him because I'm trying to work and he gets mad and he yells at me. He lets me work for a little bit. And then all of a sudden I'll be sitting here and I'll hear, persistently. It starts off slow, then it gets louder and more persistent. And I'll turn to my right and he's sitting up looking at me. Because he's telling me, come on, I need your attention. Oh, Lordy. Okay. So yeah, let's go over some of the new stuff real quick and then I'll go back because the read through of all that stuff, I think it's gonna be two parts. Maybe I'll get through it. I don't know in one time. It depends how long I decide to do it. But let's see what Gary got charged with today, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it, but there probably will be some people that are just new to this. So let's bring up his court, the SA charges, because I have those too, the SA docs. Now, but I mean, the long ones are the ones because that they don't have like the long detailed report on that yet. It gives you the charges. It gives you some hints on some stuff. But as far as the long stuff is all the issues from the kids, from the Siders kids. That's the long documents I have. But like I said, I do have the SA charges. They're just let's go over those first. Because that's the newest stuff that's okay, so we'll start there. That's my issue. I have like a problem of knowing where to start. I'll have all this stuff I want to do, and I'm not good at. Sometimes I'll regret it because I'll like start somewhere where I was like, I should have started at this because like I won't be able to keep people's attention. And like, man, I should have started at this one. Okay, so let's start with the Gary, Josh, Brandon charges, which Elizabeth's are coming soon. I'll have to check. I don't think they upped it. Last time I checked, hers wasn't on there yet. I could be wrong. Maybe they just added them since the last time I checked, but I'm guessing not because Gary got a rain today. Yeah, maybe they will be on there though. Hold on. Let me bring up Gary's first. Okay. So Gary's, and then there is, you saw that thumbnail. Oh no, wait, I didn't do that thumbnail. That's right. Um, there's a picture. Let me get rid of the chat GPT off my thing. Oh my God, he's making me mad. Okay. So Gary, where is it? Right here. There's a picture of him in court from today here. I'll just show you this real quick and then we'll read the charges. So here's like one of the pictures from court from Gary. This just happened today. Now, Brandon, we're gonna learn about Brandon and Josh. Them two got arraigned the 24th, August 24th. So there's 4 people arrested in these SA charges, 2 minor victims. So 2 victims that are minors. We have Gary, Elizabeth, Brandon, and Josh are all a part of this. Sick. Okay, so and it's not the Siders kids. You'll see they don't name who they are, but they give you some hints here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's another picture of Gary. This is his arraignment on these SA charges. Um okay, so here is the document of that. Make it big for you. Oh, thank you, Siren Curse, and thank you, Mela. Hey, Katie. Hey, Becky. I didn't even say hi to anybody. I'm sorry. Big creator. I always get like I have to start right away because I just always think of the people that are like, get started. Hey, Cat's here. Thank you. You think? I always like it shorter. Actually does look good today. Why does it actually look good today? But no, like I feel like lately it hasn't been. It actually is. But I feel like that's it's not usually like that. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Teddy. Wow, really? OT7, Sherilyn, Becky. Okay. So here is Gary's new charges. We have sexual battery. So we'll read through some of these. So this is from on or about January 1st, 2022 through September 1st, 2022. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Oh, I forgot. They always have to do that. Well, you got to manually put it in 250. We'll do 250. That's a good. Okay. So from January 1st through September. Why do I have his? Hold on. There we go. Zeke's not even there. Okay. Through September, January 1st through September 1st, 2022. Gary Siders on or about January 1st, 2022 through September 1st, 2022 at County of Vinton, aforesaid, did engage in sexual contact with blank, not his spouse, Gary L. Siders being the uncle, acting in loco parentis of blank. So this one is, it says being the uncle. Okay. So it sounds like one is the niece, right? I mean, that's what I'm gathering from it. Mail, is that what you're getting from at least this one? It's saying being the uncle. Yeah, so it has to be his niece, which it does make sense when you see Brandon's charges. Okay. Um, and then it says, remember, there's two victims here. So Gary Alcider's on about January 1st, 2022 through September 1st, 2022 at the county of Vinton aforesaid was 18 years of age or older, to wit, was born, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Did engage in sexual conduct with another person, blank, who was not the spouse of the offender. When the offender knew the offender was reckless, or when the offender knew the other person was 13 years of age or older, but less than 16 years of age, or the offender was reckless in that regard, to wit, blank was born on blank, and it says the offender is at least 4 years older than the other person with whom the offender engaged in sexual conduct, and the offender was 10 or more years older than the other person. So sexual battery F3, another one we have another one where it says it being the uncle. So you can see they have the battery and then unlawful conduct with a minor. So there's different charges for the same, like two different victims, different charges, right? So you have sexual battery, unlawful sexual conduct, sexual battery, and then we have unlawful conduct. This is the one where it's not a spouse, but is a person of 13 years of age or older, but less than 16. So one was his niece, it sounds like, and one was not somebody else that wasn't his spouse. And it sounds like they were um, between 13 and 16 years of age. Okay. So we have here's his charges. So for each victim, there's two charges for his. Now there's like Brandon has the most charges. Uh Brandon Henderson, he has like 21 charges. So Gary has two for each victim. Um so let's bring up Josh and Brandon. And I want to bring up the family tree too, so you could see who everybody is. Actually, I should bring that up now before I bring up Josh and Brandon's charges so you could kind of understand who they are. Hold on one second. Let me bring that up because that's very helpful. There's a bunch of different ones online. Mela, the one you sent me, it was too blurry when I zoomed in. So I got this. I don't know if this is one of the same ones you sent, but it might be. It looks like it's all the same, but yours had a little bit extra people on it, which we'll definitely use that, but I'm going to use this for just to show, or shoot, I might need that one to show. Oh no. Okay. Oh shoot. Hold on. Okay. So Joshua is actually, tell me if I'm understanding this right, Mela, because are we sure that I think Joshua's the son, not the husband. I think the person, right? From when I was looking through it, what I gathered, it's Joshua the son, not Joshua her ex. That's what I gathered. So, but okay. So Virginia Jenny Siders is Gary Siders' sister. Okay. Brandon is her former partner. I guess they were together for like 20 plus years. So like they were technically married. They didn't actually walk down the aisle, but the common law marriage type thing. Um, am I still up, guys? Let me bring up my YouTube on this because I'm not seeing any. I always get nervous because I don't want that thing to happen where I don't know if it's down and then I get in trouble for something. Yeah, I'm still up. Okay. So, when I was going through the groups, I was gathering that, and I don't know this for sure because, some people are saying Josh was one of her ex-husbands, but I'm gathering that it's the son. I think it's the son that's charged from what I understand. Okay. So Jenny's former partner, Brandon, one of the victims is Brandon's daughter. Just keep that in mind. Brandon's the one that has 21 charges. So One of them is Brandon's daughter, which is probably Jenny's daughter too. That's kind of up in the air. I think they're like, I think it's I think it's Jenny's daughter too, which would make sense. That would be Gary's niece then, because Brandon and Jenny are together. So I think it's both of their daughters. I just know from Brandon's charges it says the father, so I know it's his father. And since they're calling it, if since they're calling Gary the uncle, I'm guessing it's his sister and Brandon's kid, daughter. Um, and so what I'm gathering, it's the four perpetrators are Brandon, which is Gary Jr.'s sister's ex, and Joshua Jr., which I think it's the third, if what I'm understanding, which is Jenny's son. So it would be Gary's, oh, Zeke's here. Hold on. Gary's nephew took part in it. Am I Mela, what do you make out of that? Because that's the conclusion I'm making. Because it's Joshua Saunders. There's the second, the third. But I think it's the son because he's 23. I think it's their son. That's so it's basically Gary's brother-in-law, Gary's nephew, and Elizabeth all are the perpetrators. And they freaking SA'd Gary's niece, and then there's somebody else that I'm not sure who it is. There's somewhere where I heard somebody said cousin, but it doesn't say that in the charges. It says he's the uncle, so I don't know where. I think it was before the official charges got named. They thought it was the cousin, but it says uncle. So, um, oh, okay, hold on. I'll give you names. I'll give you pictures. I just wanted to. Okay, so Brandon is this guy. This guy's Brandon. Okay, Joshua is this guy. Joshua Saunders, Brandon. Okay. And then their mug shots. I thought I had their mug shots. It's in the thumbnail, the mug shots. I had them, I thought, but hold on, let me just look it up. It's you just look it up and hold on. But Brandon, that's Brandon, one of oh shoot. Hold on. Because I don't know. People are not sure which one Jenny is. Somebody's there. He's with the Jessica now. He remarried Jessica. So there's things going around where people are like, that's Jessica. No, that's Jenny. And so I'm not sure with the women, but that's why I was. Let me just show you the guys first. Brandon. He is the ex of Gary's sister who has the most charges, and it's his daughter. One of the victims is his daughter. Okay. Joshua. Now, from what I gathered, Joshua is Gary's nephew. It's his sister's son. Okay? He's another perpetrator. He's arrested too. Him and Brandon got arraigned on the 24th. And then you have Gary and Elizabeth. You know Gary and Elizabeth. Those four are the ones charged, okay? Are you following now? Or no? Here is here. Here is Brandon's mugshot. Right here. Brandon, Joshua. Okay? Gary and Elizabeth. Those four. That's who took part in this. Elizabeth is a part of it. It's I don't even want to sick. Okay. So now are you guys understanding or no? Um let me see if they added those charges on Elizabeth yet. Last time I checked it was not there. But it's common from what everybody's saying. She just hasn't been arraigned. Let me just make sure. No, it's not there yet. Okay. Um, well, I mean, that was the rumor. What if it's, I guess I can't say for sure until those charges are official, but supposedly Elizabeth's a part of it. That's what people have been saying, that she is going to be charged. There's nothing on the books yet for her that I could find. Okay. So, yeah, so you have, yes, that was right. It was the children. It is the son. I don't know why I keep doubting myself. Yes, it is Gary's sister's son Joshua is one of the sicko suspects, and so is Brandon, which is Gary's sister's ex. And then Gary, you guys following Gary and Elizabeth, and you guys, Elizabeth, Gary, and these two, remember them too, Elizabeth and Gary. So those four, not these two, the bottom two, these two, and then Brandon and Josh. Okay, that's the four new charges. Okay, so let's look at Brandon's charges. Let's look at this guy's charges right here. Okay, we're gonna bring up his now because he has a lot more, and it gives more hints. It says he's the father. It's just okay. So here is Brandon's charges. Don't worry, we're gonna go to the cider's history too, but I just wanted to go over this stuff real quick because it's quicker and it's just what's just happening now. So I figured I might as well get people aware of this because it's important. This is what's okay. So here's Brandon's charges. So date of offenses, they say January 27th through July 2026. Or no, I lied. January 27th, 2020 through November 4th, 2025 is the date of the offenses, okay? So we have gross sexual imposition. Brandon Henderson, on or about November 29th, 2020 through November 4th, 2025 at the county of Vinton did have sexual contact with blank when blank was less than 13 years of age, whether or not the offender knew the age of that person in violation. So that's one of the victims. Then we have sexual battery on or about March 21st, 2025, November 4th, 2025 at the Vinton, at County of Vinton, did engage in sexual activity with blank, cause blank to engage in sexual activity with him, or cause two or more other persons to engage in sexual activity. Brandon Henderson being the father of blank in the sexual activity involved with sexual contact in violation of Ohio. So you could see his continued on because Gary's, let me make sure I want to see the time frame on Gary's. The date of the offense is just January 1st, 2022 through September 1st, 2022. So it looks like, for almost a year, maybe he was doing that. But then Brandon continued up until the end of 2025. He continued to do this to his daughter and whoever this other person is. Okay. Well, let's see. So that's 2025. Okay. Brandon Henderson on or about November 29th, 2020 through November 4th, 2025 at the county of Vinton did have sexual contact with HH. Blank when blank was less than 13 years of age, whether or not the offender knew the age of the person in violation. Okay. And then sexual battery on or about March 21st, 2025 through November 4th, 2025 at the county of Vinton, aforesaid, did engage in sexual activity with blank, caused blank to engage in sexual activity with him, or caused two or more other persons to engage in sexual activity. Brandon Henderson being the father of blank, sexual activity involved with sexual. Okay, so I shouldn't be. I think we get it. And then you have the gross sexual imposition, less than 13 years old. Battery, which interesting though, it seems like, so the one that they say from November 20th to November 29th, 2020 to November 4th, 2025 is the one where it doesn't say he's the father, but if you look at that setup, which it looks like it's the same thing, they forget to redact this HH, which I think that would be Henderson, the initials, right? So I wonder why only one of them keeps saying he's the father, because I think both is the same girl from, you know what I'm saying? It's two girls, but I think from 2025 and the ones from 2020 is the daughter. It's the so I'm trying to figure this out here. Um Because you notice one is just from March 2025 to November 2025. And that's where it says it has caused two or more other persons to engage. And it says Brandon being the father. But then the other ones that it just says 2020 to 2025 did have sexual contact with blank when blank was less than 13, whether or not the offender knew the age of the person. So I don't know. I guess I don't know if we'll ever really know since it's minors necessarily. But the reason why I think the 2020 is also his daughter's because they say Gary's the uncle, and that would be Brandon's kid would be Gary's niece. So I don't, and then we saw the HH initials too. So I do think, I'm trying to decide, is there, because we see the one in 2025, it's for sure two people. Look, because it says two or more persons to engage. That wording is just tricky. But then the one that says, hold on, the one that has the 2020 dates, hold on, when it was less than 30. Huh. That's tricky. I don't know. And then here's a different one, January 1st, 2025 to November 4th, 2025. Because the other one was March to November or November to March or whatever. So this is a little bit different dates. So, ooh, so this one is gross sexual imposition. It says purposely compelled such a person to submit by force or threat. And this is through different dates. This is January to November. The other one was what, March to November. So yeah, I mean, he was doing it, it more often throughout the years, it looks like. That's why there's, oh, yeah, there's just a bunch of charges for him. I want to see if there's any other dates. And I'm going to disclaimer. I better do a disclaimer on this one. Ah, I usually have it here. Hold on a second. Let me, so I don't miss anything. Okay. Yeah. Sharing this for educational and news reporting purposes only. I do not condone, promote, or glorify any of these topics or the actions discussed. This is for educational purposes, just to report on this case, the sickening case. Just when you think it couldn't get worse, it's just crazy. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, this is just repetitive stuff. I'm just seeing if the dates change because I'm trying to see if there's any other here. Let me zoom out a little bit. So, okay, here's a different one. So all those other ones are just basically kind of the same things. There's a few, differences which I read. This one is now a different one, endangering children. It says Brandon on about January 27th, 2020 through November 4th, 2025 at the County of Vinton aforesaid was a parent, guardian, custodian, person having custody or control, or person in loco parentis of a child under 18 years of age who did recklessly create a substantial risk to the health or safety of blank by violating a duty of care, protection, or support. So he got endangering too. Another one. Is that different dates? Let me see. That says January 2020, November 2025. It says November 2020 to November 4th, 2025. At the County of Vinton aforesaid was a parent, guardian, custodian, person having custody or control, person loco, parent, guardian, having custody control. So recklessly create a substantial risk to health safety of blank. So it's probably all of his kids he's going to get endangering. I'm guessing. So that's, and then here's another endangering. And this is a child under 18 years of age, 11/29/2012, in violation of Ohio. Okay, so another endangering. So this is probably for each of his kids, I'm guessing. Yeah. So it's basically the same charges as Siders. I mean, Siders got the endangering ones first and then the other ones, but what brought him to their house was this case, this sexual case. That's the thing that came out. That's why they went to go get his DNA. And it sounds like from I mean from what the Facebook groups are saying, is so I don't know. I guess I can't say 100%, but it sounds like that Gary's is the father of one of the victims' kids. Like she ended up getting pregnant, right? Me, Elizabeth, was I understanding that from groups? It sounded like they're saying that he got one of the victims pregnant and they were trying to do a DNA test on Gary's DNA to see if the child is Gary's. And I think it ended up being Gary's, right? Like I said, without that actually coming out in the documents yet, I guess I can't say for sure, but that's what people are saying. So, which is crazy because if I don't know, is it the niece that got pregnant or the other victim? I don't know, but if it's the niece, that's, I mean, incest. I don't think I could say that word. I don't know, but that would be, because that would be very close in blood. I mean, your freaking niece. So I don't know. Yeah, I can. I have that banner actually. Hold on. I have one from the David case. I have to change it. Hold on. I have to change it a little bit. Let me edit it. Stream covers a Oh, I'm not gonna, okay, court proceedings, a case, hold on. Yeah, I just kind of just kept most of it the same. I think it makes sense. Okay, why is it not? Yeah, that should be good. Um, I know, I was thinking like I should try to like do code words for all this, but I mean, come on. It's hard because it's like I'm reading the documents. It is what it is. Like I could say SA, but some of this is different terminology. I just hope YouTube would be like, I wish they had more manpower so they could actually watch these videos and not AI them, so they could like not the, the bots or the algorithms, so they could see like most of these people are not promoting this stuff and we get like um penalized for it when we're 100%, I mean, not even at all. Like it's just crazy. So endangering, let me see. Yeah, so it looks like they have, that's all his charges. Wow. 21 counts. Okay, so and then you have Josh's. Josh is Gary's sister's son. Or wait, no. Yeah, Gary's sister's son. So he's another one. His offenses are January 27th, 2020 through December 18th, 2023. So it's a little bit longer than Gary's. It goes a little bit past Gary's offense date. Josh Saunders, on or about January 27th, 2020 through December 18th, 2020 at the county event in aforesaid did engage in I'll just say SC because I probably already am screwed because I wanted to read what it said, but I guess maybe not saying it as many times might be helpful. Hey, Steph. Anyway, yeah, I agree. Anyway, December did engage in sexual conduct with blank who was not the spouse of the offender, whose age at the time of the said sexual conduct was less than 13 years of age, to wit 9. So 9 years old, whether or not the offender knew the age of blank. Um and then you could see, which I'm not going to say that his are a little bit. What I don't understand is what's the difference when you get charged with the big R compared to, SA or SB or SC, or you know what I'm saying? Cuz he's the only one that has that charge. But I don't understand. Like, why, what's the difference of wording? Was it did engage in sexual contact with blank who was not the spouse? Because if you look at the description, it's basically the same. So why is one labeled the R? I feel like when you hear that word, you automatically think it's worse. But if you look at the description, it's like the same thing. So why, you see what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna have to turn this fan on. Because this is the only one that's worded the R. Like, it's the R. Shoot, my stuff's blowing everywhere. Um. Anyway, and then he has the gross sexual imposition. Blank, not his spouse. So this is January 2020 to December 2023 in Vinton County. Sexual contact with blank, not his spouse, when blank was less than 13 years of age. And then on or about June 6, 2022 through June 5th, 2023, engaged in sexual conduct with blank, who was not the spouse, whose age at the time of the said sexual conduct was less than 13 years of age, to wit 9 or 10, whether or not the offender knew the age of blank. Yeah, so he has 4 counts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Oh, hold on. Oh, thank you, Steph. And thank you, member Steph 12. I hit this side button on my mouse and it takes me off. That should be. Why is he on? Hold on. Okay. Well, let me share my screen again. Somehow it got taken off. This side button. That's crazy. Now I wish I would have read that disclaimer at the beginning. Now I'm like, should I start over? It shouldn't matter though, right? I mean, disclaimer. YouTube, disclaimer. I do not promote, condone, or glorify any of these actions in this video. I am just going over the court documents for educational purposes and news reporting purposes. I feel like I'm gonna have to keep saying that. Okay, just make sure YouTube knows that for sure. Anyway, okay, so we have that. Now before I get into all of the stuff from 2020, 2021, let's watch. This is, oh, let's look at this picture. So this picture has been going around in the Facebook groups. So this is supposed, so that is Jessica. So it says last night Jessica, so Brandon was with what, Jenny, Victoria, right? Or Virginia or whatever. Gary's sister for like 20 plus years, right? And then she got sick. Supposedly she's like on a ventilator. I don't know if we've been able to confirm that, but she has that what is that called, Mayla's mom, where she's not doing good, she's like paralyzed from it. And so he's out getting married to this Jessica, just leaves her high and dry, allegedly. So Jessica on April 16th says, last night I married my best friend, my partner in laughter, and my daily adventure. And now what? This week he gets arrested for some horrible, horrible crimes. Here, this says, per many social media posts, Brandon and Jenny were together for about 20 years and had 6 children. While described as a common law marriage, Washington doesn't recognize common law marriage. Brandon reportedly had a child with Jessica in 2024. In 2025, Jenny suffered a medical emergency and was placed in a coma and is now reportedly paralyzed and ventilator dependent. Brandon married Jessica in 2026. Relatives also claim they have custody of the 3 children and receive state-ordered child support. How freaking crazy. What a piece. I mean, that's just not a good person if this is all true. All right, let me see what some of these screenshots are. All right, I'll go over that in a minute. I just want to go over. Yeah, we're going to go over that. What is it's kind of blurry. It's just press release. Okay. Oh, so here's Cider's updates. Jenny, Virginia Saunders, aka Gary's sister. Brendan is Jenny's partner, sharing 5 kids. Joshua is Jenny's oldest, with Joshua Saunders Jr. Joshua Jr. is in prison for, I guess, murder. That's, I don't know the whole story behind that, but that's what somebody was saying in the group. But he's in prison right now. This was one of Jenny's exes, Josh Saunders, who she had her son Josh with, and the son is the one that's arrested for these new charges. Okay. All right, so we went over that. Now I'm gonna exit out of this, and we're gonna get to that in a minute, but first I want to play. So I wanted to play this reel. So who did it? Renee, the internet is forever. I thought this was interesting. See what she has to say.
There's another person connected to the Siders family case that I want to talk about, and that's Gary Jr.'s sister, Virginia Saunders, also known as Jenny. Before I get into this, I know all of these family connections can get really confusing. I get confused trying to keep everyone straight myself, so I'm going to break this down as simply as I can so we can all follow who's who and how they're connected. Public records show that Jenny was in a long-time relationship with Brandon Henderson. In fact, records show the two of them living together as far back as 2010. Brandon is one of the two men who was just arrested and indicted in the investigation that led authorities to Gary Jr. and Elizabeth. Jenny and Brandon are no longer together, and social media posts show Brandon is now married to another woman named Jessica. And Jenny's teenage daughter is now in the care of Jenny's sister Mandy and Mandy's husband Ronnie Fletcher, who are her legal guardians. There was also a 2025 GoFundMe involving Jenny that I want to show you because it adds another piece to the story of what happened to her. I've seen people claiming that Jenny is currently in a nursing home, and I've even seen claims that she may be in a coma. But I want to be very clear about this. I have not been able to verify either of those claims, so I'm not reporting that as fact. I'm only mentioning it because those claims are circulating, and I'm still trying to piece together exactly what happened to Jenny. There's another person connected to the Siders family case that I want to talk about, and that's Gary Jr.'s sister, Virginia Saunders, also known as Jenny. Before I get into this, I know all of these family connections can get really confusing. I get confused trying to keep everyone straight myself,
it's
so...
done. Okay, sorry. I forgot about this. So I forgot about where that actually came from the Elizabeth being charged from this. So that's legit. It's legit. She just hasn't been arraigned yet. Because I forgot about this. Duh. That was like one of the first things I saw. I don't know why. So this is from the Ohio Attorney General is putting this. So I think we could trust it, right? All right. So let me zoom in on this. No. Okay. So Ohio Attorney General says, um, dang it, why can't it be bigger without it? I want you guys to be able to read it, but it doesn't, the way this is written, it's like, all right. It says Vinton County jury issues indictments on SA abuse and endangerment cases. A Vinton County grand jury today issued indictments in 3 criminal cases involving SA abuse or SA and child endangerment. The charges stem from criminal investigations conducted by Vinton County Sheriff's Office and the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigations. So it says, in December 2025, at the request of Vinton County Sheriff's Office, BCI Special Victims Unit opened an investigation into allegations of SA abuse involving 2 children. This investigation resulted in indictments against 2 South Bloomingville men. Josh Saunders, 23, was indicted on 4 charges, 3 counts of R, 1 count of gross sexual imposition. Brandon Henderson, 40, was indicted on 21 charges, and we went through those. Am I going to read all those over again? The men arrested today without incident by the Vinton County or by Vinton and Ross County Sheriff's Office. Investigation 2. Information obtained in the first investigation prompted BCI in March 2026 to open a second investigation, this one involving allegations of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. On June 30th, authorities executed a search warrant at the Omer residence. The investigation led to the indictments of Gary Siders Jr., 36, and his wife, Elizabeth Siders, 33. Gary Siders Jr. was indicted on 4 charges: 2S battery, sexual battery, 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. Elizabeth was also indicted on 4 charges: 2 counts of sexual battery, 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. So there is why, yes, that's happening. She just hasn't been arraigned, is probably why it's not in Vinton County system yet, but it's coming. She was indicted, 4 charges. The indictments allege that between January and September 2022, the defendants engaged in sexual conduct with a minor more than 10 years younger than their own age. The victim is not a member of their immediate family. Investigation 3. When law enforcement executed the search warrant at Omer Street, authorities discovered 16 children living in the house in unsafe condition. The indictments allege that the children suffered serious physical harm. Gary Siders Jr., the children's father, were indicted on 19 charges: 2 counts of endangering children, 10 counts of endangering children, 7 counts of endangering children. Elizabeth Siders, you got the endangering children, 2, 10, and 7. And then, of course, Gary Sr. and Christina. Okay. So that's legit. Does anybody want to watch the video statements, or did you already watch it? Like these ones?
These cases began as an investigation into family child sex abuse. Law enforcement sought the DNA of Gary Siders Jr. related to the child sex abuse case. Once Siders Jr. was located, search warrants were executed to secure his DNA for genetic testing. Upon serving the search warrants for the child sex abuse case, the existence and condition of the 16 children at the Omer Street house became known. The child sex abuse cases involve intra-family relations and do not pose a risk to the general public, and I would also add, does not involve human trafficking. This case all started with diligent Dollar General clerks calling authorities with concerns over children they observed. We ask the public to be mindful of the circumstances around them, especially involving children. We continue to ask for the public's respect for the rights and privacy of the child victims in this case. I'd like to add a thank you to the Vinton County Sheriff's Office and BCI for their investigative efforts, which have been amazing. This case is going to be prosecuted by myself, Kara Keating, Assistant Attorney General, and Annika Collins, Highland County Prosecuting Attorney. Thank you.
After weeks of emotional testimony and intense legal arguments,
I got no more weight right now.
A Vinton County grand jury today has issued indictments in 3 criminal cases involving sexual abuse and child endangerment. These charges stem from criminal investigations conducted by the Vinton County Sheriff's Office and the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigations, BCI. The cases are being prosecuted by the Vinton County Prosecutor's Office with the assistance from the Highland County Prosecutor's Office and the Ohio Attorney General's Special Prosecutions Unit. In December of 2025, at the request of the Vinton County Sheriff's Office, BCI's Special Victims Unit opened an investigation into allegations of sexual abuse involving 2 children. Information obtained in this investigation prompted BCI in March of 26 to open a second investigation, this one involving allegations of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. On June 30th, authorities executed a search warrant at a residence in Hamden, Ohio, and Vinton County on Omer Street. There have been a lot of speculation and questions regarding the June 30th presence on Omer Street in Hamden. These indictments provide some insight into the ongoing investigation. However, to preserve the integrity of the ongoing investigation and to protect the victims, I conclude my statement here. I am thankful for the work of my deputies and our fellow partners at BCI. We will continue to pursue justice in these cases.
It's entirely possible that he was unwillingly kept.
Okay, so I'm trying to see. Let me play something else. Forget if this was the one that I wanted to play. Let me see.
Well, tonight we're learning more about the 2 men facing charges in connection to the Siders family case. Investigators say 2 South Bloomingville men are facing charges surrounding sexual abuse of 2 children. This is 40-year-old Brandon Henderson and 23-year-old Josh Saunders. Today, a judge set their bond at $250,000.
TV News reporter Kristen McFarland is out there joining us live right now in front of the courthouse with what we know about all this tonight, Kristen.
Jeff, Yolanda, well, the complexity of this case continues to unfold with new information. Investigators linking 40-year-old Brandon Henderson and 23-year-old Josh Saunders to 2 of the Sider family members. Here's what we know tonight. The Attorney General's office says this all started back in December when an investigation was opened into allegations of sexual abuse involving 2 children. This led to the indictments and arrests of 2 South Bloomingville men, 23-year-old Josh Saunders and 40-year-old Brandon Henderson.
One of them does look familiar, the older guy. I know I've seen him somewhere. I just can't put my finger on where.
Neighbor Michaela Hickman says this case is becoming more complex.
No, that is absolutely horrifying. These 2 people started all of this for them to look into what is actually going on in this household. And I mean, it's such a remote area. It's not shocking that horrible things are going on in homes people don't know.
Officials say this investigation led investigators to look into Elizabeth and Gary Siders Jr. and what ultimately led to the discovery of the 16 children. Both parents are facing sexual battery charges and 2 counts each of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. Officials say the victim is not an immediate family member. Hickman says she's lived in this area for years and hasn't heard any case like this.
You don't truly know your neighbors. With being in so far apart, it's hard to know who someone really is on the inside.
And today we learned through birth certificate records that 23-year-old Josh Saunders is the child of a man who was named in an ordered paternity test with Henderson through the court. Henderson is in a relationship with a woman listed as the young Saunders mother. For now, reporting live in Vinton County, Kristen McFarland.
Wait, what? Well, let me listen to how they worded that.
And today we learned through birth certificate records that 23-year-old Josh Saunders is the child of a man who was named in an ordered paternity test with Henderson through the court. Henderson is in a relationship with a woman listed as the young Saunders mother. For now, reporting live.
Okay, check out what Elizabeth's brother just posted. So remember, we have Joey and we have Jeremy. So Joey was the one that was supporting Elizabeth. I think they ended up he had a warrant out, so he's in jail, right? I think from Mela, that's what you told me, right? Is he still? I'm sorry, I'm putting you out there. Well, because I didn't know that information, and I was busy with the David case for a while, and now I'm trying to get caught up. So I haven't seen that anywhere. So that's why I'm trying to ask you, actually. Is he arrested? I mean, is he still in jail? But Jeremy was the one that was not really supporting her, really. He was said he was trying to get child services out there or something. Remember that one post that he made? So look what he's been posting. We'll get to the court docs. I know, guys. I just want to go through the little stuff and then it's interesting, those court documents from the 2021 and 20 stuff for the Siders children, but I just want to get everything else done. So then when I start that, it'll be like, okay, that's part 1, and then we'll get part 2 maybe tomorrow. Okay, so, Mel, I'm sorry. I'm putting you on the spot here. Okay, so Jeremy says this is what he just posted, but then he posted a few other things too. I would like to go over. Okay, so why is that not? Doesn't that? I guess it doesn't. So he posted, Elizabeth called asking about the new charge. I'm going to enlighten soon as she calls back. However, that might seal her faith. It's on a recording. Do I just stay out of it or do I ask? She don't even know. I was ready to fight the state till that appeared. It is what it is. I don't like perverted shit at all. I feel sorry for the child. But that's weird. He's saying that he was ready to fight the state because I missed a lot, though. So maybe I missed when he started supporting her. Because the last I remember, he was not supporting her. So I must have missed some stuff. So let's see. I'll see if we could find some of his old charges. Or his old post. I was reading this right here, so I said, okay, 2 days ago, he said, family or not, sex charge, there is no explanation. You did or you didn't. No reason for a pervert charge, ignorant or not. Like, why didn't we post that charge first? I would have kept my mouth shut. And then August 17th, he says, I pop a hole in my lug. How's that happen? I guess better than a heart attack. Oh, wait. I just want to do the ones relevant to the case. I wanted to show you some of the first ones, but it says, I don't think my sister would play dumb. The rest of the family playing goofy. My sister believes she was in good hands. So she thought she was doing the right thing due to them. Then people I have nothing good to say about. Playing goofy, collecting welfare. The mother coached my sister to stay away. They have my sister so brainwashed. The mother got the welfare at the end of the year. Buying cars, posting on Facebook. That's what they just did to my sister. So you know what I think happened? He was against his sister at first, but then he probably talked to her. It sounds like he's talking to her on the phone. Probably thought, okay, took a different perspective, right? Thinking, okay, they're the ones brainwashing her. It's them. And now he's back to like, whatever, this is sick. Collecting welfare. The mother coached my sister. So he's saying Christina, which is the mother, coached Elizabeth to stay away. The mother got the welfare at the end of the year, buying cars. Okay. And then he says on July 31st, he says, if I was to make money off my sister's ordeal, would I be a bad person? I don't think so. I'm not sure what your argument is about. You just mad at the world. Ain't nobody get a free pass. That's your mindset. I want to show you the first ones that he posted to remind you. Anyway, yeah. I had read it on my first live. I'm sure you guys have seen it, where he was talking about how he went to the, it was very vague, but he was talking about how he tried to report it before and they didn't do nothing about it, about all the kids and stuff. Anyway, okay, so we have that, and then I don't want this. Make this smaller. All right. I just want to play. I guess I could play those on breaks, but oh, let's just do this really quick to show you what Gary's what Gary's whatchamacallit. Where did I put that? Wow, Gary. Sorry, I'm used to not, I don't know how to put it in the side. I usually put them in the top, and I'm not. Why doesn't that go in there? Oh well. Usually they pop in the side, but I've been using the top. I've been using the side view, but I don't know how to get them to go in. Yeah, look, I just did the one over there easy. Why isn't this? There we go. There we go. I knew it did it. Sorry, guys. I like the side better, I think. What do you guys use? It on the side or the top? I'm thinking I like the side better, but okay. So Gary arraigned. So this is today, arraigned on new indictment charge. One of four defendants in the infamous Siders case was arraigned on Wednesday, August 26th on the new indictment charges. Represented by counsel, waived his explanation of rights during his arraignment. He appeared in person in the courtroom. He has been indicted by the Vinton County grand jury on 23 counts between the two cases. So I wanted to just read, talks about engaged with the minor. The alleged victim is not a member of his immediate family. The indictment noted that Siders was the uncle of the victim. He pleaded not guilty and requested counsel to be appointed. The case was heard before Vinton County Common Pleas. She continued the previous $300,000 bond related to the endangering children case and set a $250,000 surety bond or cash in the new sexual battery charge. And he has to have no contact with his wife Elizabeth or the victim. So wait a minute. Hold on. I gotta read those again because they're saying in the victim. Isn't there two victims? Hold on. Let me make sure. Oh, I exited out. I swear there was two victims. That says and the victim. That's why I'm a little bit confused why it says that. Count 1, count 2, count 3. It's got to be 2 people because you wouldn't get 2 battery charges of the same person. Yeah, it's got to be 2 because you have basically 4 charges, 2 doubles. So just bad wording, I guess. All right. What do you guys think so far? Hi, Ashley, you made it. Yay. And then you have Josh's was set January 2020 to December 2023 was the offense date, and his was, it says 2 separate victims, both younger than 13. So it sounds like, oh no. So one was 9 and the other was between 10 and 12 for Josh. But he got a $250,000 surety bond and he waived his right to be physically present in the courtroom. He pleaded not guilty. And then we have Brandon. He 21 charges. He has the most. Yeah, his span for 5 years, January 2020 to November 2025. I just want to see how much if they gave him a higher bond since he had more than Josh. So yeah, she's the parent or custodian was from 2020 to 2025. We'll have to go through these a little bit better sometime. He has his 250,000 surety bond. He waived his right to be physically present. So Brandon and Josh weren't present, but Gary was. I wonder what Jessica's thinking now, his new wife. She's got to be appalled. She's got to be like, "Oh my god, I didn't even know that guy. Like I married that guy and he's been doing that. How sick." How freaking sick. Now I kind of wish I would have just read these articles because they're easier to follow instead of reading the court docs for these charges, but it's too late now. I'm not going to read over and have to say those words again. But these lay it out really easy to follow. All right, so now let's just go over those other ones, right? Zeke's coming. Hold on. Let me put him up. Oh, he is up. All right. You guys want to go over the 2020, 2021 documents about the Siders children now? Now that I feel like I freaking made everything so confusing. I'm sorry. I am sorry. All right. I don't want to confuse you more, but there's another case going on too of this part of the family, kind of. Basically, Linda's Sider's granddaughter granddaughter and great granddaughter, wouldn't it be? Wait, daughter, granddaughter, great granddaughter. Yeah. But we'll go over it another time. It's too much, I feel like. Let's just go over the cider stuff, right? All right, let me bring up I keep debating if I should. I'll just play this while I'm bringing up the other documents. Just this quick video on every just.
Two men, prosecutors say, helped spark the investigation into the Siders family were in court today. Brandon Henderson, Sr., and Josh Saunders are now facing charges in a child sex abuse case. The Ohio Attorney General's office says the investigation first began in December of last year. 10 TV's Kristen McFarland is live in Vinton County. Kristen, what do we know about the relationship between these men and the Siders family?
Yeah, Bryn. Well, first of all, Josh Saunders and Brandon Henderson's bond was set at $250,000 by a judge just a little while ago. Both men pled not guilty. As you mentioned, this all started in December when an investigation was open into alleged sexual abuse of two children. Now, this led to the indictments and arrests of both Hocking County men, Josh Saunders and Brandon Henderson. Saunders is charged with 3 counts of rape and 1 count gross sexual imposition. Henderson is facing 21 charges, including 8 counts sexual battery, 8 counts of gross sexual imposition, and 4 counts endangering children. Investigators say the investigation into these 2 men are what led to an investigation into Elizabeth and Gary Siders Jr., and what ultimately led to discovery of the 16 children. Both parents are facing sexual battery charges and each 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. The Attorney General's office says the victim is not a family member of the immediate Siders family. Right now, we are working to learn the alleged connection and relationship with those 2 men and the Siders family. We'll, of course, bring you the latest as we learn more. For now, reporting live in Vinton County, Kristen McFarland, 10 TV News.
Kristen, thank you. And like she just said, the investigation into sexual assault allegations against these 2 men led investigators to investigate Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders for separate allegations of sexual misconduct involving a minor. The young couple is now facing an indictment related to those allegations. That's in addition to the allegations linked to this discovery of 16 children inside a home with 4 adults in Vinton County. Each adult in the home is facing more than a dozen charges related to child endangerment. On June 30th of this year, officers went to serve a warrant for the unlawful sexual conduct charge. And when they entered the home, investigators found 16 children they say they did not expect to be there. At the time, the Ohio Attorney General described the condition of the home the 20 peoples were living in was, quote, deplorable. There's no court date scheduled for the family right now.
Okay. All right, let's start on this. We're going to do the 2020, starting in 2020. Now, this will have to do with the kids, okay? Okay, let me get ready to read here. Let me take out my earphones. Got a lot to read. It's interesting, though. We'll probably skip over some stuff. Oh, okay. Let me take a sip of my water. Or hi, Elvin. You guys could hear me, right? Okay, we are back. I just was testing to make sure. Remember the last time it changed my audio when I did something? I wanted to make sure it wasn't doing that. All right, so let's zoom in, and this will be from 2020. I'm gonna probably skip through some of this where it's just the different wait, hold on a second. Let me bring up, hold on one second. All right. So it's the specific, like, oh, wait. Wait, hold on a second. I'm trying to find how he worded that. Where'd it go? Oh, well. I think he said the specific filings, but we'll just kind of skim through this. So we have 2020. Yeah, no, this is what it's all gonna be. So I don't need to go through it. That's what we're gonna go through. Yeah, okay. Okay, so here we go. I should watermark this, should I? I did order it. It was something I had to order. I had to do a files request for. Maybe I should. Hold on a second. Yeah, hold on a second. Because I did have to do that. I'll play a video while I'm doing it real quick. Hold on. I reshared my screen so I could play this. I'll play this real quick. I was gonna play this video sometime anyway, and then hopefully you guys could hear it.
Expected it in a town like this.
I'm sorry. Shoot. I thought it was playing. Hold on. Let me do it over. That was weird. I don't know why the audio wasn't playing though. Hopefully it's playing. The audio will play now. I hope. Let's try this over.
Court records show concerns surrounding the Siders children stretching back years, with the Gallia County Children's Services filing 9 dependency cases back in 2020. New court documents just released detail the conditions caseworkers found at a Cheshire home the Siders were living in during 2020 and 2021, about 10 minutes outside of Gallipolis. Other documents detail concerns about the children's education. Caseworkers noted some of the kids were unable to speak. Neighbors say they remember seeing the children and say trash bags were placed over the windows, making it hard to see inside. Tina Copley says that she never thought the conditions described in the court documents could have been that bad.
Very shocking. Very heartfelt. Broke my heart to hear that kids are being treated that way and people are being treated that way. But it was a shocker. It was a real shocker. was very surprised. I've kind of never expected it in a town like this.
In both cases with the Gallia County Children's Services, these kids were able to return back to Gary and Elizabeth Siders. We spoke with the Gallia County Children's Services director, and he told us the courts can give out information they can't, and couldn't tell us why these kids were released back into the Siders' custody. Now, we did reach out to the school in these court documents, the Ohio Virtual Academy, and we have not heard back yet. On your side, Nick Veland, ABC 6 News.
Okay, I'm coming. I got it. Let's do this. Let me mute. Okay. That's weird. You're supposed to be able to. Oh. You're supposed to be able to control the audio in the when you share a screen. They're up to, every time I log on to StreamYard, there's a new update, and you're supposed to be able to, like, usually you could just mute it, your screen share through StreamYard or not, and you're supposed to be able to control it. I was just trying to do it. I don't. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. I was just checking it out. All right. I found it. Oh, I found it. Interesting. Let's start. You guys ready? I'll make it one more. Go 250. All right, here we go. So we're going to start on, well, I guess 250 is going to be too big. There we go. So Garfield Avenue. The undersigned, duly sworn Olivia Meadows caseworker has knowledge of a certain child, to wit. And it gives you the initial CS, date of birth. So at this time, so this is 2020. The child would be 11 years old when this happened, right? Who appears to be a dependent, neglected in the county of Gallia, state of Ohio, on about 4th day of March 2020. She said, CS, so they're talking about the caseworker said, CS, date of birth. So one of the Siders' kids is dependent in that her condition or environment is such as to warrant the state in the interest of said child in assuming their guardianship in violation of section blah blah blah. So from knowing some of the kids' names, see the initials, that sounds like that's their oldest daughter is who they're referring to here. Now there is a file for each kid. So there's 9 of them at this time, because 2020 she wouldn't have had all her kids. So there's 9 of these files, but they're basically duplicates, but it's for each kid. So I'm not going to read each one. I'm just going to read this whole file. And then there's a 2021 one. But anyway, so 2020, the oldest child, but just remember this happens for all of the kids, 9 of the kids. So that would be all of them at the time, right? Okay, so here we go. The said child now resides at Garfield, Ohio. The name and addresses of the parents of said children are Gary and the father and Elizabeth, the mother. And it says the said children are currently in the care and custody of the parents listed above. Okay, so we have in the matter of, and it names, so there's 2, 4, 6, 8. So there's the nine children. So I'm trying to think. So she may have had a couple more, but maybe they were too young. Cause I'm trying to think, she would have probably had 11 children by 2020, right? But if maybe a couple of them were not school age, maybe that's why. I don't know. Let's read here. I've skimmed some of it. I didn't get to read every single thing. Somebody wants to figure that out while I'm reading. How many kids would she have had in 2020? Because for this, they're accounting for 9 of them. Olivia M. Meadows of Gallia County Children's Services, being duly sworn, hereby alleges and attests to the following regarding the above children. The children above are in the care and custody of their parents, Elizabeth and Gary, residing at the Garfield Avenue place. The agency initiated an investigation on January 15th, 2020, regarding KS, 7 years old. It was reported K, so the initial KS, who was 7 years old, was enrolled in Ohio Virtual Academy in late fall of 2019, but was entered with no prior schooling, but presented significant developmental delays, inability to speak in complete sentences or initiate in conversation. It was reported that Kay has not been to a pediatrician for evaluation of any medical and or developmental delays. During the initiation of the case, Christina Siders, which is the grandmother, the paternal grandmother, stated that the above accusations were true, but then retracted her statement on a later date. So basically, the above accusations of Kay, one of the kids who was 7, not being able to speak in complete sentences. So it sounds like, and not been to a pediatrician, saying she agreed but then retracted. At the beginning of this agency's investigation, concerns of BS, I think it says BS, age 13, not completing school through the OVA was raised due to her being enrolled in January 6, 2020, but as of February 4th, 2020, she had not logged into the account to complete schoolwork. On February 4th, 2020, she officially withdrawn from the OVA. OVA considered B to never have stated based on no records being provided except those collected during enrollment. Maybe reinstated, maybe? To never have stated based on no records being provided. Huh. So, wow. So basically, the 13-year-old was freaking. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Did that say? Then that don't make sense. Hold on a second. Maybe that isn't a C. Unless if they have 2 kids with the initial CS. Because this says 11 years old, but then 7 years old, and then where is this the person 13? So I know the initial CS, she was the one I'm thinking of was the oldest of the kids. So I don't know. I don't remember all the initials. Okay. So, after further investigation, it was determined that B was enrolled in Gallia Digital Academy program on December 12th, 2019, but no completion of schoolwork can be provided. The OVA program stated that the Siders family is not an appropriate fit for their program and believes that a traditional brick and mortar school would be in the best interest of the children. So they wanted to do the virtual academy, so they wouldn't have to go to school, right? It'll be all virtual. Well, you have to have some what is it called? Like what is the word I'm thinking of? Like control, but I'm not thinking of control. But you have to have some my God, I can't even think of the word, but it can't just be somebody that's not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? At least you send the kids to school, they make sure everything's done. But if they don't have like a good support structure at home. How is that going to work, right? I don't know. Is virtual school at home? Maybe somebody help me out. Because I'm picturing Ohio Virtual Academy would be like at home. Let me see. It's okay, online public charter school serving full-time students in grades K through 12, powered by Stride K-12 and taught by Ohio certified teachers. Format: classes and coursework are completed online from home with books, materials, and loaned a computer provided to enrolled students. Parents or guardian act as learning coaches to help guide daily progress alongside teachers. Yeah, definitely. I could see if they're not taking apart or making sure. I mean, wow. So they're saying they're not a good fit, right? The school has since raised concerns regarding CS age 12, ZS age 11. Okay, so I think when they said CS age 11, I think it's because it's at different time periods. So CS would be the oldest, ZS would be the second to oldest girl, from what I've known from who the kids are, right? So at this time, CS was 12, ZS was 11, CS, there's two CSs. Oh, see, another CS age 9 being low academically and performing below grade level expectations. C is at a 40% attendance level out of 100 and considered off track in the following subjects: math, literature, Mark 12, social studies, history, and science. Z was given an assessment on January 19th, 2020 by her teacher, who found that Z is a non-reader. Z knows 14 out of 26 lowercase letters, 21 out of 26 uppercase letters, and 0 out of 26 letter sounds. Wow, that's sad. And the only pre-primer word Z knew was and. Wow. So she couldn't even make any of the sounds of the letters. I mean, I don't know vocally, but she didn't know, like, seeing the letter, knowing what it sounds like. And that's all the parent. I mean, it's all the parents. I mean, that makes me sad. That's freaking crazy. Anyway, in addition to struggling with the alphabet, Z can count 1 through 12 before making mistakes. On February 28th, so remember at this time, she's 11 years old and she doesn't know any of the sounds of the alphabet, only knows, can't read. I mean, obviously, if she can't sound out the letters, 14 out of 26 lowercase letters, 21 out of 26 uppercase letters, 0 out of 26 sounds. And the only pre-primer word she knew was and. And so remember, 11 years old, she can count through 1 through 12, but can't go past that without mistakes. On February 28th, 2020, it was reported that C was given an assessment. So now this is the oldest. I guess it could be the oldest or the 9-year-old because they both have the same initials, it looks like. But one of the C was given an assessment that found she had not made any academic process within the last 10 weeks. I'm sure that's supposed to be progress. Christina Siders, the paternal grandmother, is the one who interacts between the school and family, not the parents, Elizabeth and Gary. Elizabeth Siders' mother and Gary Siders' father are non-compliant with following the recommendations of the school. Medical exams, physiological exams, physical exams, speech therapy, vision and hearing screenings, and participation in intervention programs. Based on interactions with the family and specifically the children, there are concerns that all the children need to be assessed for delays, developmental disabilities, and other educational needs. Additionally, it appears the parent caretakers are either unwilling to or are not capable of assuring the children's well-being when it comes to educational, developmental, and mental health needs. Wow. And you guys, I am going to put all the files I get for this case for it'll be a members perk. I know I said I was going to do the David transcripts, but that was a issue with the court reporter said I was not allowed to do that. It was this whole issue where like, yeah, I basically got in trouble for even reading them, for basically reading the entire transcripts. I got in trouble for it. So she said, she's like, you can't. And she even actually was going after Law and Crime for putting the transcripts behind their paywall. She thought I was a part of it. She's like, are you associated with Law and Crime, the channel Law and Crime? Didn't even know who it was. And I'm like, no, why? And she's like, I was told they were putting the transcripts behind like a paywall or whatever. So she was trying to contact them. So they were so strict that in the David case, I have never heard anything like that, but their rules were it was so different. It was crazy. And she was like aware of the live stream when I read it all. She said she's seen it. And I was like, the rules are so confusing. Like the one rule that it says that, I was like, can you explain like, okay, what am I allowed to do? Because the wording is so weird, the way they word it. And I was like, how much of it can I read? And I can't answer that, Miss Averelli. You just can't read the entire transcript. Like, I have never heard of that. So that's why when I got the next batch, I only, you could do some of it, but you just can't read it in the entirety. But the crazy thing is I skipped a lot on those David transcripts. I was like, I didn't even read them all, but I guess I read too much. Anyway, my point is that's why I know I said I would have that and I didn't, but that was an issue I wasn't allowed to. So I just don't want people to think, oh yeah, she said that you were going to put the David ones and you didn't, so I don't trust her. No, I wasn't allowed to. I was contacted and said I couldn't do that. So, but I'm allowed. I mean, that's an abnormal thing that they have going on. So anyway, my point is I will put after this live, I will put it for a perk if you guys want to read through it yourself. Okay, so let me continue. Oh, wait, what do I see? Nancy, what did Nancy say? The only thing, Nancy, here's the thing. When I make it bigger, it goes off the screen. So that's what, look, that's the only issue. I try to make it, that's why I'm very concerned. I try to make it as big as I can without it, but I can't, like, that would be like, make you dizzy as I'm reading, go, and then go, you know what I'm saying? So I can't, I wish I could. But that's why I always make it as big as I can without it going off the screen. So let me see. Maybe I can get it up a couple more, but let's do 225 and see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If I go like this, no, hold on. I know. Trust me, I'm like you. I have this OCD where I want to make it as big as I can for you guys because I know I'm like that where I want to be able to read it. Let me hold on. Let me try to make us smaller. I don't want to completely take us away though. I want to at least have us up there. I don't want to change. Hold on. Let me edit this. Let me try something here. Well, I'm trying to edit this a little so we're smaller. But I don't want to completely get rid of us. Because that's what makes it, personal. I could probably go. No. I mean, this might be, oh, a little bit bigger. But it's not gonna, I mean, it's not gonna be much because I have to make this a little bit smaller because you know it's gonna be more annoying if I go back and like go like this. It's gonna just be it, give us all headaches. Hold on, let me do. I guess we could do this. All right. That's about as good as it's gonna get. I can't completely cut us off. Oh, that's back down there again. I have to move that away. I had that off. How did that get back there? Or I had it. Dang it. How did that get back there? Oh, well, I'll try not to hit it. I'll have to move it. Um, wonder if, hold on, I might have another option. Hold on a second. Hold on a second for bigger. Because if I put myself, hold on, I have an idea. I don't need Zeke up there anymore. Hold on. Just wait. Hold on. I have a good idea. Okay. I I don't need Zeke, and I could hold on. Just make sure I scroll up. There we go. I'll make sure I keep up what I'm reading so you can see it. Is that better? That might work out. What do you think? Oh, hold on. I have to rearrange this one up here now. Hold on. Hold on a second. I'm doing the vertical one, so it's better if anybody. That might work. Is that better? It should be a little bit bigger. I don't like how this is all um the way this document is where it's so long this way where you can't get it that big without having to scroll. Scroll. Sorry, I'm reorganizing the vertical too, so all right, here we go. That's good. All right. So we have okay, so they're non-compliant with the stuff they should be doing, medical exams, physiological, physical, speech therapy. Based on interactions with the family and specifically the children, there are concerns that all the children need to be assessed for delays. You know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this down here too. There we go. For delays, developmental disabilities, and other educational needs. Additionally, it appears the parent caretakers are either unwilling to or not capable of assuring the children's well-being when it comes to educational, developmental, and mental health needs. Therefore, due to the concerns noted above, Gallia County Children's Services regards the above named children as being a risk for harm and dependency and is requesting court order protective supervision of all children until such time their safety and well-being can be assured. This action appears to be in the best interest of the children. Further efforts to prevent this action are not possible at this time. And that was sworn on the 4th day of March 2020. Now we have judgment entry in the Court of Common Pleas in the matter of CS. This day, Gallia, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Gallia County Children's Service filed in this court a complaint duly verified according to law setting forth the certain children, to wit, CS, appears to be dependent, neglected children. It is therefore ordered by the court that said complaint be set for hearing 3/10/2020. Like I said, keep in mind each of the children's, there's 9, like I said, 9 documents that say the same thing. They just all basically, the only difference is this would be like a different kid, and then they put the other kid, so it's like the same thing for all the kids, so keep that in mind. It's not just one kid. Anyway, it is therefore ordered by the court that said complaint be set for hearing on 3/10/2020, and the summons, and that a summons returnable on or before that date directed to the sheriff's department be issued for personal service upon the listed persons listed next below, whom the court finds necessary or proper parties, to wit, and who's listed? Elizabeth and Gary Siders. The court finds that this is in the best interest of the said children to place children in the temporary emergency custody of parents, that reasonable efforts to prevent placement are not possible at this time. Oh, Bela, okay, I will. When I take a, well, you sent that about an hour ago. Oh my God. When I take a break from reading, I will do that. Thank you. Why is that not? Should move my head up. Okay, so the court finds that it's in the best interest of children to place the children in temporary emergency custody of parents, and that the reasonable efforts to prevent the placement are not possible at this time. It is further ordered that the persons having custody or control of said children is to appear personally before the court at the set time for the hearing. And you will see after the 2020 and 2021 stuff, you will see how they're not making judgment in the best interest of the kids. They're making their judgment in like the convenience of not wanting to be like, not bothered, but just like have to deal with 9 kids, and how do they take care of it? Because you will see they should not have dropped this. It is just so crazy. After I'm done reading this, you're going to be so mad. Anyway, it appearing to the court that the children named above, that custody be immediately assumed, and that parents is hereby commanded to take said children into custody at once, and this case is continued. So then you have Sheriff's Department, Gallia County, Ohio. You're commanded to notify Elizabeth and Gary Siders that a complaint has been filed in this court that CS appears to be a dependent, neglected child. It is ordered that you personally appear before the court at Gallipolis, Ohio, on 3/10/20 at 2:30. Further, it is ordered that the person having physical custody or children of said children, physical custody or control of said children, bring said children to the hearing. A person so notified who fails to appear may be punished in other cases of contempt of court. Any party is entitled to counsel in the proceedings of the court, will appoint counsel if party is indigent. Said Sheriff's Department will make due, return forthwith. It has been made to appear to the court that the children named above, that custody be assumed by parent. You are hereby commanded to take children into custody. It cuts off a little bit. It appearing to the court that the juvenile named are in such conditions that their welfare requires that their custody be immediately assumed by parent, is ordered to take said juveniles into custody at once. And they bring a revised code. An adjudication of abuse, neglect, or dependency may result in an order or temporary custody. An order of temporary custody will cause the removal of a child from the legal custody of the parent until the council terminates the order of temporary custody. When complaint contains a prayer or request for the permanent custody of a neglected dependent child, the parents said child are hereby notified that. So let's just reading the Ohio revised code, which they should have done. So the parents are said hereby notified that the granting of such permanent custody takes form the natural or adoptive parents all rights and duties and obligations of a parent, including the right to consent to an adoption of the child, to inherit from the child, and the right of the child to inherit from the parent. Any person summoned to appear before the court who fails to do so may be punished as in other cases for contempt. And may lose valuable rights as a result of failure to appear. Okay. Sheriff's Department, you're commanding. Okay. Oh my God, my nose itches. This for saying the same thing. Yeah, okay. Okay. Same thing. Why is it? I think it's the same. Repeat. Okay. So we have Elizabeth Siders financial disclosure form. So it says she's white, female. The appointment of counsel is presumed if the person representing meets any of the qualifications below. Place an X. So X is Medicaid, so she meets that qualification, and food stamps. So Medicaid and food stamps. It's stamped March 11th, 2020. She's saying she's unable to retain private counsel without substantial hardship. So she's trying to get a public defender, basically. Now we got Gary's Medicaid and food stamps, self-employed. All right, so in the matter of CS, date of birth, blank, alleged dependent child. The matter came on for shelter care hearing on the 10th day of March 2020 upon the complaint filed herein. Present in the open court were the following. You know what? I am getting a headache looking this way. I need to switch the shared screen over here. Dang, my eyes, because I'm like, hold on one second. Let me just reshare my screen. Wow, I already have a headache from kind of turning my eyes to the side. Okay. Let's do that one. All right. So we're going to move all this over here and all this over here. All this over here. All right. Oh, this is going to be so much better. All right. Okay. Where's Zeke? Is he even here anymore? I think he's gone. I think he went with my mom. Are you guys still with me? All right. So on March 20th, upon the complaint hearing present in open court. Oh, this is so much better. Elizabeth Siders mother, Gary Siders' father, Rick Hedges, attorney for parents, Randy Dupree, assistant prosecuting attorney, Olivia Meadows is the Children's Services, Christy Smith is also Gallia County Children's Services. So, okay. The court being duly advised finds as follows. A sworn complaint with respect to the above referenced child was filed in this court on March 9th, 2020. Notice was given and process was served to the child's mother, Elizabeth Siders, and father, Gary Siders II. Of the time, place, and purpose of the hearing, notice was further provided to them that a case plan may be prepared, the general requirements of case plan, and the possible consequences of noncompliance with a case plan pursuant to section blah, blah, blah of the Ohio Revised Code. As stipulated to be the parents, there are reasonable grounds to believe that the child is in danger from her surroundings and that the protective supervision of the child is necessary to prevent the child's physical and or emotional harm. The child is in the care and custody of her parents, Gary Siders II and Elizabeth Siders. Children's Services began working with the family on January 15th, 2020, after receiving a report that KS, which is CS's sister, had been enrolled in Ohio Virtual Academy for school in late fall of 2019. With no prior schooling. Wait, no prior schooling wasn't. I mean, she was already what, 9? Oh, wait, yeah, she was 11. No, that was ZS. That's right. ZS is the second oldest. I don't know KS, how old she is, or he. Oh, it would be a she, yeah. So, remember, the one that we were talking about that didn't know any of the sounds, the 26 letter sounds, and that first one we were talking about, that was ZS. Now we're talking about KS. So, right? Am I remembering that right? Now I'm doubting myself. What was the first one, guys? Hold on. Now I'm like, was it K? I swear it was ZS. Because it's important. I like to know if it's the same person or not. I'm pretty sure it was a different kid. But I want to know because I want to see like how many kids were really not impaired, that's not the right word, but really just not failed. Basically, they failed. Yeah, it was Z. Okay, so I was right. So ZS was the first one. Now we're KS. Okay, so KS she's enrolled in the virtual academy 2019, no prior schooling. She presented with significant developmental delays, inability to speak in complete sentences or initiate in conversation. She had not been seen by a pediatrician for evaluation of any medical and or developmental delays. There were also concerns that the other school-age children in the family were performing well below grade level expectations after they had allegedly been homeschooled. Wow. Likewise, the other children have not been evaluated. Children's Services believes all of these children are at risk of harm without protective supervision. Gallia County Children's Services has made reasonable efforts to prevent the removal of the child from the home, eliminate continued removal, or make it possible for the child to return home safely. Children's Services has attempted to work with the family for nearly 2 months before filing this case. However, the parents have not complied with the recommendations of the school, including medical examinations, physiological examinations, physical examinations, speech therapy, vision and hearing screenings, and participation in intervention programs. Even now, the agency is only asking for protective supervision. It would be contrary to the welfare and best interest of the child to continue in the home at this time without protective supervision. It is therefore ordered that CS remain in the custody of her parents, Gary Siders II and Elizabeth Siders, until further order of this court. It is further ordered that Gallia County Children's Services provide an ongoing protective supervision. It is further ordered that this matter shall come on for adjudication Wednesday, April 15th, 2020, 1:30 at 1:30. Sorry. It is further ordered that the copies of this judgment entry shall be sent to all parties of their record for counsel. Proof of service. A copy of the foregoing entry was served upon the Gallia County prosecutor. So just proof of it. Okay. In the Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Division, in the matter of CS, alleged dependent, CS being brought into court and it appearing that he or she is in indigent circumstances and unable to employ counsel. The court, at his or her request, appoints Richard Hedges as counsel for his or her defense. Proof of service. A copy of the foregoing journal entry was served upon Gallia County prosecuting attorney. So here's all of the case numbers and the different kids that are a part of this. For good cause, it is ordered that pursuant to Ohio, blah, 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 Daniel Carsey be appointed the voluntary guardian ad litem to protect the interests of the child named above until all dispositional orders relative to the child have terminated unless sooner discharged. It is further ordered upon presentation of this order to any agency, hospital, organization, school, person, or office, including but not limited to the clerk of courts, Department of Housing, Department of Health, Child Care and Agency, just a bunch of. I guess I could read it all. Public and private health psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, staff, law enforcement agencies, attorney general, the appointing guardian ad litem, and CASA program manager or staff are hereby authorized to inspect and copy any records relating to the above named child without consent of said child or parents of said child. If for any reason the appointed CASA GAL is unable to fulfill said duties, the CASA directed shall assume appointment and carry out the duties and appointment of the appointment unless another one is appointed. Okay. So the guardian ad litem assigned to the cause shall maintain any information received from any such source as confidential and will not disclose the same except to report to the court or as the court directs or law permits, and also shall be given notice of hearings proceedings scheduled in this case. The ad litem shall appear at said hearings, assure proper representation. So the role of the guardian ad litem, fact finder or investigator whose task it is to ferret out of all the relevant facts, a reporter whose task it is to ensure that all the relevant facts are before the court in writing at all hearings, an advocate for the child whose task is to ensure that the court has before it at the dispositional hearing all available options which are in the child's best interest, a guardian or protector in the broadest sense of the word, whose task is to ensure that the child's interests are fully protected, a monitor who ensures that the court orders are carried out, all services provided, and brings to the court attention any new developments or changes. All right, I'm going to skip through all this. So it's basically pretty important to, for the kids' well-being to have one, especially if they're being neglected or something's going on, right? Now comes attorney Richard H. Hedges to respectfully inform the court of his representation of Gary Siders and Elizabeth, the parents of the alleged dependent child. Please direct all communications and other intended for this juvenile to this office. Man, the fan is like blowing pieces of hair on my face and it's making it itch because it's blowing like strands across my face. Oh, I need it on though. Okay. So it says, pursuant to the Ohio rule, juvenile procedure, the undersigned requests that you forthwith produce for inspection, copying or photographing the following information, documents, and material in your custody, control, and possession. The names and last known addresses of each witness to the occurrence which forms the basis of the charge, copies of any written statements made by any party or witness, transcriptions, recordings, and summaries of any oral statements of any party or witness, any scientific or other reports which any party intends to introduce at the hearing and which pertains to physical or psychological evidence which any party intends to introduce, any photograph or physical evidence which any party intends to introduce at the hearing. So it's a request for the discovery. So alleged juvenile delinquent. Now comes the state of Ohio by and through Jason Holdren, prosecuting attorney of Gallia County, Ohio, in response to the defendant's written demand for discovery as follows. Evidence. Prosecutor's complaints, copy provided to the defense counsel. The affidavit of Olivia Meadows, copy provided to defense counsel. DJFS activity log report, copy provided to the defense counsel. DGFS intake form, authorization for release of information, lab results, DGFS correspondence with OHVA, OHVA report, OHVA meet the teacher, ZS report card, copy provided to defense, OHVA teacher correspondence, KS report card, copy provided to the defense, Olivia Meadows, caseworker, Gallia, okay. Elizabeth, oh, those are the witness. So we got the caseworker as a witness, Elizabeth is a witness, Gary, Rachel, who is the children's services, Russ Moore, who's the director of children's services, Angela Rochi, teacher at the Gallia Academy Middle School, Anita Moore, diversion officer, Deputy Trevor Smith, Rio Grande Police Department, Chief Joshua Davies, Rio Grande Police Department, Deputy Tyler Price is Rio Grande Police Department, Charlotte E. McGuire is a caseworker, Emily R. Foltz, caseworker, Olivia Meadows, caseworker, Russ Moore, Director of Children's Services, Amanda Bryant, school counselor at Ohio Virtual Academy, Debbie Nunley, K2 teacher, kindergarten, Ohio Virtual Academy, Nicole Zetz, first grade teacher, Leah Rutherford, teacher. Both those last two are teachers at the Ohio Virtual Academy. Expert witness, Bridget L. Lemberg, lab director, toxiologist, forensic fluids lab, okay. Donna Coy, certifying scientist, forensic fluids. Jerome Reed, research and development, development forensic fluids laboratories. John Epstein, MD, clinical consultant, forensic fluids laboratories. Any evidence which may become known to the prosecutor, which is favorable to the defendant, will be made known to him or his counsel when it becomes known to the prosecuting attorney. Proof of service. The undersigned hereby certifies that a copy of the foregoing response to the request for discovery was served to Richard Hedges, attorney for the defendants. Okay. Yes, they did. Wait, Mama Mia, you're here. I didn't even say hi to you. Hey, Mama Mia. I'm glad you made it. I know that you Australians, it's hard sometimes because you're time zone, but and Mila, what other mods do we have in here? Mila, Mama Mia, I know Ashley was here for a minute. And I don't mean a minute, like literally a minute. I know I seen her here earlier, is what I meant. Who else? Katsir, yes. Thank you guys for being here. And make sure you let people know if they want, that these documents will be will be for members if they want to download them. I usually do like documents for members. I'll just put the PDF file and people, and they could just click on it and read through it themselves. So gotta offer some perks for my members. And I feel like I slack sometimes on that, but I appreciate all your members. You guys help me a lot because ad revenue, you have to have like so many views. So members really help out. So thank you. Okay, so where am I at? Alleged juvenile. Now comes the state of Ohio by through Jason Hodron, prosecuting attorney, response to defendant's written request, hereby makes written request of the defendant for discovery of the following items. Inspect the copy of photograph of all books, papers, documents, photographs, tangible objects, or copies or portions thereof available to or within possession, custody, or control of the defendant, in which the defendant intends to introduce in the evidence at the trial. to inspect, copy, and photograph any results or reports of physical or mental exams and of the scientific tests or experiments made in connection with a particular case or copies thereof available to within the possession or control of the defendant and which were prepared by a witness whom the defendant intends to call at the trial when such results or reports relate to this testimony. Names and addresses of the witness that the defendant intends to call at trial. So then they proof of the copy. Okay, so motion for release of records. Okay, I'm gonna skip through some of this. In the matter of CS, the matter came on for adjudication on the 15th day of April 2020. The complaint filed herein present in open court were the following: Elizabeth, mother; Gary, father; Rick, attorney; Randy, assistant prosecuting attorney; Rick Hedges is attorney for parents; Olivia Meadows, children's services; Danielle is the guardian ad litem; Chelsea Clois is the CACA director. The court finds that all parties were given notice of this hearing. The court was advised that Elizabeth Siders and Gary Siders wished to admit to the allegation of dependency as contained in the complaint. The court made inquiry of Elizabeth Siders and Gary Lee Siders Jr. to determine that they understood the effects of acknowledging the above referenced child to be dependent. Elizabeth Siders and Gary Lee Siders Jr. acknowledged that they knew and understood all of the rights they have in these proceedings and the possible dispositions. They voluntarily and knowingly give up those rights and admitted to the allegation of dependency as stated in the complaint. Right, so the court accepts the admission of dependency and based upon the complaint, the evidence presented in open court finds that there is a clear and convincing evidence to find that CS is a dependent child whose condition or environment is such as to warrant the state in the interest of the child and assuming the child's guardianship pursuant to Ohio Revised Code. The court being duly advised as follows. The child is in the care and custody of her parents, Gary and Elizabeth. Children's Services began working with the family on January 15th, 2020, after receiving a report that CS's sister, had been enrolled in Ohio Virtual Academy for School in late fall 2019 with no prior schooling. She presented with significant developmental delays, inability to speak in complete sentences or initiate conversation. She had not been seen by a pediatrician for evaluation of any medical developmental delays. There were also concerns that other school-age children in the family were performing well below grade level expectations after they allegedly been homeschooled. Likewise, the other children have not been evaluated. All of these children are at risk without protective supervision. It would be contrary to the welfare and best interest of the child to continue in the home without protective supervision. Sorry, there's a lot of repetitive stuff. There always is in these documents. And then just goes, it repeats this again, how the Children's Services has made reasonable efforts to prevent the removal of the children from the home, eliminate continued removal, or make it possible for the child to return home safely. The agency has worked with family for several weeks and even now is only asking for protective supervision, not custody. So they're saying so it is ordered that CS remain in the custody of her parents, which is freaking crazy. This is the judgment or final order which may be appealed. The clerk, pursuant to civil rule, shall serve notice on the same on all parties who are not in default of entry of appearance within 3 days after the journalizing of this entry. Okay. All right, I'm going to skip through all this. Basically, how they were in agreement, which we just read that. Elizabeth and Gary were given notice, indicated they were in agreement with the disposition proposed by Children's Services, which set forth that CS would remain in custody of her parents with protective supervision, while Elizabeth and Gary Jr. worked on completing their case plan. The court being duly advised finds as follows. The above referenced child was deemed dependent by judgment entry of this court filed April 17th, 2020. CS was left in the custody of her parents, Elizabeth and Gary Lee Siders Jr., with protective supervision pending disposition. The agency made reasonable efforts to prevent the removal of the child from the home, eliminate continued removal, and make it possible for the child to return home safely. Children's Services is assisting the parents with completing the requirements of the case plan. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna skip. So basically that order was, oh, just keep her in the house, right? The court finds all parties were given notice. The court was informed Elizabeth and Gary are making significant progress on their case plan. They have obtained appropriate housing and are nearly finishing with their parenting classes. They still need to follow through with evaluations for the children, which have been hampered by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is the agency's recommendation that the child remain in the custody of her parents with protective supervision while her parents complete their case plan. Now, I wonder, and you'll see, we'll go over 2021 ones too. I wonder if the whole pandemic really played a role in them just doing the bare minimum, not the Siders, I mean the court, where they're like, yeah, like we can't deal with this 9 kids at the time or more. I think in 2021 it was 11 kids that were named in it, I'm pretty sure. So you know what I'm saying? The pandemic, so they just were just doing like bare minimum type the court, because this should not have let this slide, especially when you see the 2021, like that's ridiculous. So right now it's more what we've been going over for this 2020 so far. It's more like school stuff, their education. They are way below, they're not where they should be, not even close. And it's because of the parents. I mean, so you see, it's further noted that the Galley County Children's Services provided ongoing protective supervision. But what was that protective supervision? Because I don't know. I just feel like doesn't seem like there was much, or they really did what they were supposed to. And maybe it was because of the pandemic, and that's not an excuse. These are kids' lives. But I could see like it, they don't want to go in the homes because everybody was very, the unknown of what COVID was in 2020. I mean, everybody was very like they don't want to be around people, or wanted to be in their own home. And if they wore masks, they don't want to risk getting sick, because it was so unknown what would happen. So I just wonder if that played a big part of them being so lenient here. And I bet you this supervision wasn't crap. Okay, so it says how they're making progress. They still need to follow through with the recommendations given from the evaluations done on the children and provide proof of enrollment in school and completion of summer school. It is the agency's recommendation that the children remain in the custody of her parents with protective supervision while her parents complete the case plan. Okay, so man, I didn't think it was going to be this much repeating. Oh, I was hoping it would be not. Sorry, I didn't get to go through all of it. Because I was working on the live anyway, gonna go over all the new stuff, and then I got the request in, and I was like, oh shoot! So I hurry up. Was like, okay, I want to go over this. So I was doing the redaction for like stuff that need, like addresses and different things for YouTube. So I didn't get to really read it all. Yeah, this is all repeat. Look, all repetitive stuff. Okay, so let's do 20. I guess we will have time for 2021 because of all the repetition. All right, so let me bring up 2021. Now, after though you see 2021, it's like, how did they not do something like these? They really failed these kids. I'm talking about, of course, the parents, but the state children's services, I feel like really failed them. They should have stepped in 2020. Okay, maybe 2020, give them a chance, but by 2021, they should have been like, okay, we need to like supervise or get you guys under control, or they should have just been better. All right, 2021. Okay. All right. So, complaint. Matter of CS. Now, the address is the honeysuckle. Okay. The undersigned after, you know what? I could make it a little bit bigger. Hold on. I'm able to make it a little bit bigger. It looks like a lot of them are like not those long scent. They're like, you know, some of them go across the whole page. We might be able to do that. There we go. Nancy, how's that? All right. So the undersigned, after being duly sworn, according to the law, says that Aaron R. Cantor, caseworker, has knowledge of a certain child, to wit, CS, 12 years old. So now she's 12 at this time, who appears to be a dependent, neglected child. In the county of Gallia, state of Ohio, on or about the 21st day of January 2021, she said CS is dependent in that her condition or environment is such as to warrant the state in the interest of said child in assuming their guardianship in violation of section blah, blah, blah. On or about the 21st day of January 2021, she said the child is neglected and that parents, guardian, custodian neglected him or her or refused to provide proper or necessary subsistence, education, medical or surgical care or treatment, or other care necessary for his or her health, morals, or well-being in violation. Hold on a second. Let me take my blood thinner because, hold on. I had to skip yesterday because it was high, but now I'm worried. Let me just take it real quick since I'm sitting a lot. Yeah, Zeke must be with my mom. He's not anywhere because sometimes he's like laying back here and I miss him, or sometimes he goes in my closet because I think he gets cold because of the fan. But he's away to my mama. Okay. So where are we at? Children requested court order protective supervision. Okay, so wherefore Gallia County Children's Services is requesting court-ordered protective supervision of all children until such time their safety and well-being can be assured. Yeah, so what happened to the year prior? What weren't there protective supervision? So did you guys just stop on that? Or you know what I'm saying? How many chances do you get of that? I don't know. All right. So 10. Okay, there's 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 are listed right here now. 10 kids. I swear it was 11, but the other one is 9, and this I'm counting 10. Because in a year they probably had another kid, right? Or another school age kid. All right. The children above. Wait, hold on. Let me read it all. Aaron R. Cantor of Gallia County Department of Jobs and Family Services, being duly sworn, hereby alleges and attests to the following regarding the above named children. The children above are in the care of in custody of their parents, Elizabeth and Gary, residing at so there's a Honeysuckle. So one of the previous many residents. I mean, because they went through a lot of residences where they lived in a short period of time. It seemed like every year they were somewhere else, which moving that many kids, that's a lot. That's just not good for the kids. But anyway, this agency initiated an investigation on December 7th, 2020 regarding G, J, V, and L. And then I think it's Siders, right? I think that's why. It was reported that all 4 children had high levels of lead in their system. There were concerns that parents Elizabeth and Gary were not completing medical follow-ups. The medical staff had reported that high levels of lead can lead to developmental delays. Why am I having such a hard time saying that word right now? Developmental delays. During the initiation on December 8th, 2020, C.W. Cantor was denied access to the home and asked to come back because the children were sleeping. See, what do you guys make of the lead? Was it just like the house, something maybe the kids were eating or something or doing that got lead because they weren't being supervised and the conditions were just horrible living conditions? Or do you think the parents were given? I don't know why I don't think the parents were giving them, like, you know, poison them or anything. I don't know if I think that though. I think it was just I personally, my opinion right now, I'm leaning more towards, I'm thinking it was whatever, because of the neglect, they were getting into something, or maybe they were starving and they were eating something they shouldn't, or something in the house that was doing it. What do you guys think? Lead paint. Oh, okay. So do you think they were eating the paint or something? Or just like interacting with it in a way which wasn't sanitary, which wasn't supervised? They probably, who knows what they do to occupy their time when, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, I don't even know. It could be anything. Anyway, where are we at? Yeah, so, but why did they deny access? Oh, because we are all the direct access contact to these kids, it comes down on us. Oh, I see. Our stopping point of our kiddos. I didn't know that. They don't have to ingest it. Okay. At the beginning of this agency investigation, C.W. Cantor, I'll try to highlight what I'm reading. Oh, no. Oh, well. C.W. Cantor was allowed access into the home on December 9th, 2020. Oh, okay. So December 8th, they denied. They said the children are sleeping and they denied. But it probably gave them time to clean up or situate whatever they maybe didn't want them to see. it gave them time to, okay, let's get this ready so we can let them in the house. So who knows? Drugs, just gross, or just but see, I don't think they could cover up so much of like the living conditions, or maybe got the kids ready as far as like what to say. Who knows? But they let them in the next day, okay? But access to the children was denied. Oh, okay. So access to the children was denied. But this is child services. How can they say, like, okay, we're going to let that pass? They say, no, we want to see him. I don't understand how they can let that fly. Anyway, while in the home, concerns were raised due to high population of roaches, flies, and gnats. After further investigation, the family has now become compliant with medical appointments, but medical staff are concerned that the family will stop coming to appointments once the case is closed, as this happened the last time the family had an open case. The children's medical provider and C.W. Cantor are in contact often regarding the well-being of the children. The physician has stated the children have an odor but seem to be in good health. The physician is concerned about B's teeth, as they are not in good condition. C.W. Cantor is also worried about L's speech, as she is almost 5 years old and cannot speak any clear language. C.W. Cantor would like L to have a speech evaluation to address this concern. Though the concern of medical neglect have been addressed and resolved, the refusal to access of the upstairs of the home and the children raises new concerns. So they don't have access to the upstairs of the children. But if it's children's services, that's one of the main things that they should be allowed. That's what they're checking on the children, right? That doesn't even make sense. The children, they need to have access to the children and the whole house. Anyway, due to there being circular linear bruising on the back of C child's thigh and the lack of being able to see the children now, C.W. Cantor now has concerns of the possible abuse and or severe neglect. Wow. So she has C, which I do think there's 2 kids with that initial, maybe even more. I got to look through the initials. So I'm not sure. It does say child's thigh. Circular linear bruising on the back of the child's thigh. Huh. Anyways, so yeah, C.W. Cantor now has concerns of possible abuse and or severe neglect. C.W. Cantor also saw insect bites on L's arm, along with scratches. L also was tugging her ear and scratching her head profusely. The parents were questioned regarding the bruising and they became agitated and stated they were unaware of any bruising. The parents also stated that B has one cavity on her baby tooth and are not concerned about it. C.W. Cantor has noticed the parents are always in the same clothing and do not have consistent hygiene, nor do the children. Clothing, wait, where am I at? Therefore, due to the concerns noted above, Gallia County Department of Jobs and Family Services regards the above named children as being at risk for harm and dependency and is requesting court order protective supervision of all the children until such time their safety and well-being can be assured. So is this protective supervision they're there the whole time, or how does that work? Because obviously it didn't help in 2020. This action appears to be in the best interest of the children. Further efforts to prevent this action are not possible at this time. In the matter of CS, this day, or the alleged dependent neglected children or child. The day Gallia County Children's Services filed the court a complaint duly verified according to law, setting forth the children, neglected children. Okay. They set a hearing for, I think it says 1/24 of 2021, 1 p.m. The court finds that it's in best interest of said children to place the children in temporary emergency custody. Yeah. Or wait, temporary emergency custody of Gary and Elizabeth? What? It says the court finds that it is in the best interest of said children to place the children in the temporary emergency custody of Gary and Elizabeth Siders, and that reasonable efforts to prevent the placement are not possible at this time. It is further ordered that the persons having custody or control of said children is to appear personally before this court at the time set for hearing thereof. It appearing to the court that the children named above, that the custody be immediately assumed, that Gary Elizabeth is hereby commanded to take said children into custody. What the heck? After seeing it down, we found the lead paint present. Ah, cool. It appearing to the court that the juvenile named are in such conditions that their welfare require that their custody be immediate, assumed by Gary and Elizabeth, is ordered to take said juvenile into custody at once. An adjudication of abuse, neglect, or dependency may result in an order of temporary custody. An order of temporary custody will cause the removal of a child from the legal custody of the parent. Until the court terminates the order of temporary custody. What? Or permanently divest them of their parental rights. Custody will cause the removal of the child from legal custody of the parent until the court terminates the order. Yeah, I think that's what they should have done. When a complaint contains a prayer or request for the permanent custody of a neglected or dependent child, the parents of the said child are hereby notified that the granting of such permanent custody takes form the natural or adoptive parents all rights, duties, and obligations of a parent, including the right to consent to an adoption of the child, to inherit from the child, and the right of the child to inherit from the parent. Okay, Elizabeth Siders, Medicaid and food stamps is what she's eligible, presumptive eligibility. She checks off Medicaid and food stamps. As for monthly expenses, rent, mortgage, she puts $350. And then utilities, gas, electric, water, sewer, trash is $250 a month. Saying she's not able to retain counsel to pay for it, basically. Gary Siders is presumptive eligibility for Medicaid and food stamps. He's self-employed. Total income $1,500 a month. Rent $350 a month, and utilities $250 a month. It's gonna be a lot of repeating stuff. Okay. talk about how the hearing was, they were told of when the hearing is. Says as stipulated to by the parents, there are reasonable grounds to believe that the child is in danger from her surroundings and that the protective supervision of the child is necessary to prevent the child's physical and or emotional harm. The child is in the care and custody of her parents, Gary and Elizabeth. Job and Family Services began an investigation on December 7th, 2020, regarding high levels of lead in G, J, and V, and L, and S, or I think in L, and then Ciders. I think this is the last one. So the 4 kids. The caseworker was, so 4 of the kids had high levels, right? The caseworker was denied access to the home on December 8th, 2020. The worker was admitted to the home. Oh, let me move it. Oh, you can still read it. The worker was admitted to the home on December 9th, 2020, but denied access to the children. The worker notified an infestation of roaches, flies, and gnats in the home. There are also concerns with cleanliness of the house and the children. The agency believes all these children are at risk of harm without protective supervision. Gallia County Job and Family Services has made reasonable efforts to prevent the removal of the child from the home and eliminate continued removal, or make it possible for the child to return home safely. The agency has attempted to work with the family, however, they have been uncooperative. Even now, the agency is not asking for custody, but protective supervision only. It would be contrary to the welfare and best interest of the child to continue in the home at this time without protective supervision. It's making me mad, really. This is the same thing on the first one. The guy that goes over the guardian ad litem, which we already know from the first document. What a waste of all this paper. Or I guess it's not paper, but man, most of this is just the same stuff. Yeah, same stuff. Yeah. So it's saying that the Children's Services made reasonable efforts to prevent the removal of the child. Okay. The agency worked with the family for several weeks and even now is only asking for protective supervision. Yeah, we know that. And that's what you did on the first one. Ridiculous. Look what happened. Now they have high levels of lead. They're getting more and more behind in their school stuff, right? Oh. How's everybody doing? I'm getting tired of reading. A headache for some reason. I can't read like I used to, man. Remember I used to read for like 5 hours at a time? I can't do it. I start to get a headache. I think from maybe the blue light or the eyes of the screen. I don't know. I wish I could do it like I used to. Why can't I? I guess it's it's good because I shouldn't probably do it that long, but so remember, this is for all the 10 kids, the other one was for 9. So they go through all the kids saying the same thing, right? So basically, all of them, if you look at it like, then they're all the supervised custody. So for every kid, so it's like, what's the verdict? What's the conclusion? Yeah, supervised custody, right? Burping. Yeah, because I have heartburn, so I'm glad I'm burping actually. I gotta take some Tums. So I'm just seeing if there's anything new. It's making me mad. But hold on. Now let me take this down. All right. Move this over here. I want to show you this thing that the judge said. Hold on a second. If I could find the screenshot, it's ridiculous. In case if I play anything with audio, let me put this in just in case. Okay, let me. See if I can find it quick. I'll just go. I'll finish going over some of the screenshots that I haven't read yet. 1 second. That was kind of disappointing. Like, I thought there was going to be more information in there. Well, disappointing for what it was too. It's horrible. I just I just can't believe they let them go after like the 2021. Like, come on, do something. Where is that one where it said the judge was like, well, that might be in these screenshots. And let's not forget, we still what's going to happen with Gary Sr. and Christina. Like, I mean, part of me wonders, like, were they really just, not aware or whatever? I don't know. I can't find that screenshot. Oh well. I'll just go over some of the random screenshots that I haven't saved, or I haven't. So 2021 medical neglect case. In January 2021, another case was opened after lead was detected in the children's system. The court again allowed children to stay with their parents under a supervised case plan, closing the matter in 2021. Oh, here it was this one. This is the one I was looking for. I am so silly. I didn't. 2021, 2022 truancy case. In late 2021, Judge Moulton summoned the parents for chronic absenteeism after 6 of the children missed school. In January 2022, he terminated the cases because the court officials and CPS could not track down or serve the family, who had intentionally fled the area. Judicial response. Due to the ongoing legal proceedings against the parents, Judge Moulton has stated that he is legally unable to publicly comment on past cases involving the family. What the heck? Like, because they just, oh, can't track you down. Oh, we're just going to forget about it. We're not going to try, right? It's just crazy. What's this one say? Siders family updates. Timeline for those confused. December 2025, Dollar General employees, not Hamden, Dollar General note a child has been wandering around the store to open to close. A welfare check is requested. The kids told them everything. They remove all children, Brandon and Jenny's kids, from the home and place them with someone else while they investigate. Around this time frame, Virginia, aka Jenny, was found unresponsive, septic, and rehospitalized permanently. Brandon had left her alone, even though she was paralyzed. March 2026, Gary and Elizabeth are named in that investigation. June 30th, they knock at the Siders' door with a search warrant to get Junior's DNA. They find the children and request a second search warrant to investigate further. They arrest Gary Sr., Christina, Gary Jr., and Elizabeth. They remove all 16 children and place them in foster care. August 21st, Brandon and Joshua are arrested in regard to the December investigation. Junior and Elizabeth are charged as well with participating somehow in the original investigation. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, here's another Jeremy. I don't think I've read this one yet. Elizabeth's brother says, so this is what I found out. The brother-in-law was being perverted with his blood daughter, along with another family member. 2 adult males, father and uncle. The 14-year-old had a child. The DNA test came back to my sister's husband. That's where I saw that. Jeremy said that. So that's where I saw that the father that the victim had a child and that came back as Gary being the father. So I don't know if it's been confirmed, but this is Elizabeth's brother saying this. The girl mentioned an affair with my sister. Guilty. Well, now my brother and sister is dead to me. That sucks. I was really about to make a fool of myself. So, because I mean, we know that's why they came to the Siders house originally. I mean, that's what they were doing to get his DNA, right? To see if whose kid this was. And he's saying that it ended up being Gary's, but I don't know. We'll see. We could see what happens if they announce it. And then I forgot to add, I had some other screenshots and I forgot to put them in this file. Hold on. Yeah, that's what I knew I was missing something. I was like, I swear I had other. Yeah. Wow. Sorry, it wouldn't let me add myself. Okay, hold on one second. Ah. I'm trying to put these in this file so I have, hold on. I'll read them. I think it was from some, if I'm remembering, it was from some Facebook groups. Some posts that I thought were interesting. I'm just moving them to this folder. Hold on. Move on up. All right. Why aren't they moving? There we go. All right, so let me read this one, two, three. All right, so all right, so let me read this one first. This is about Brandon from Vinton County case discussion. It says Katie posted this. It looks like Brandon Henderson was reportedly in a relationship with Virginia Lee Sider Saunders. However, this photo from Brandon's Facebook page shows a woman named Jessica Henderson. Yesterday's comments on this post indicated that he was calling her his wife, and there was a comment from her calling him her husband. The photo was tagged with Jessica. Today it is not. As far as I can tell, this woman is not Virginia. Today, the comments on the photo have been turned off. Jessica untagged herself and locked down her Facebook, which I don't blame her. Like, if she indeed was oblivious to all this, thought this Brandon guy was a nice guy, thought she knew him, marries him, and then finds out this stuff, I don't blame her for taking her off of the tag photo of this monster and locking out her Facebook and trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, does anyone know anything about the status of Virginia? I can't find any profiles with any recent photos or posts. There is one from 2019 where she's listed in a relationship, and there's a photo of her with Brandon. Virginia has not been arrested. According to court records in Gallia County, Virginia had 3 kids who were removed from her home. There are 2 girls and a boy. The court is currently working on paternity to verify Brandon is the father because she's still legally married to Joshua Saunders. Saunders has been in prison since 2009, so it's unlikely that he's the father of any of the kids. According to Jessica's profile, she has 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. All of them are either adults or have recently graduated high school. Wait, so she's talking about Jessica. So while she looks young, she had her kids very young. Did Jessica know about Virginia? Did Virginia know about Jessica? And where is Virginia today? Okay, and then this is from True Crime Mama. So Sider's parents indicted on 6 SA charges as grand jury returns dozens on counts of in case involving 16 children. Before I get into the new information from law enforcement, I need to share some information that I received early in the investigation. At the time, although I believe what the source was telling me, no one was willing to confirm the information. The information released today tracks with what was shared with me back in early July. A source reached out and told me that Gary Jr. had impregnated a minor relative in years past, and it wasn't until months ago that the minor was convinced to come forward. Wow. That is what allegedly broke this entire situation wide open. I do know the minor's relationship to Gary Jr., but it will not share to protect her identity. Now for the official update. The investigation surrounding the Siders family in Vinton County, Ohio, has expanded significantly. A grand jury has now indicted Gary Siders, 36, and his wife, 33, on child SA charges in addition to the child endangerment charges connected to the 16 children removed from their Hamden home. According to the Ohio Attorney General, the case actually developed through 3 separate but connected investigations. The first began in December 2025 when the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation Special Victims Unit opened an investigation into allegations of SA involving 2 children. The investigation led to the indictments of 2 South Blooming. South Blooming, where am I at? Sorry. South Bloomingville men. Josh Saunders, 23, was indicted on 3 counts of R and 1 count of gross SI. I don't know what it is. Brandon Henderson, 40, was indicted on 21 charges. We already went over all those. Horrible, 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 all sexual crap with one was his freaking daughter. It's authorities say information uncovered during that investigation prompted BCI to open a second investigation on March 2026 involving allegations of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. On June 30th, investigators executed a search warrant at the Siders family residence on Omer Street in Hampton. Gary Jr. and Elizabeth have now each been indicted on 2 counts of sexual battery and 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. The indictments allege the conduct occurred between January and September 2022 and involved a minor who was more than 10 years younger than the defendants. Authorities specifically noted that the alleged victim is not a member of Gary and Elizabeth's immediate family. The same search warrant led investigators to what became the 3rd case. Authorities discovered 16 children living inside the residence under conditions prosecutors alleged were unsafe and caused the children serious physical harm. Okay, I'm gonna not go through all this. I know I'm not gonna go through this whole thing because some of it's just stuff we went over. Yeah, we already know how that is. Yeah, it says Virginia remains legally married to a different man named Joshua D. Saunders, who is serving a sentence of 15 years to life for murder. Authorities stress that he is not the 23-year-old Josh Saunders indicted on the current SA investigation. Court records reportedly show that Virginia and Henderson were living together by 2010. Virginia's sister and brother-in-law are now the legal guardians of Virginia's Virginia's sister and brother-in-law. So wait, is it, I forget who they said, it's not Linda, is it? How many sisters do they have? Because Linda would be one of their sisters, but I think it's the other one, right? Anyway, Virginia's sister and brother-in-law are now the legal guardians of Virginia's 15-year-old daughter, and a court has ordered DNA testing to determine whether Henderson or Virginia's husband is the girl's biological father. Okay, so the 15-year-old, they're trying to figure out if it's Joshua or Brandon. NBC reported that Henderson would be considered an uncle to the 16 children either through that possible biological connection or through his relationship with Virginia. The precise connection between 23-year-old Josh Saunders and the Siders family has not been confirmed. Okay. How would it be? That would Henderson wouldn't be by it. Anyway, it's crazy. What a mess. The connection of the 23-year-old is that he is son of Gary Siders Jr.'s sister. Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's that other case. I don't know. Should we go over this? I gotta. It's driving me nuts. I have to get it. Okay. The angel. Gary. This is all right. Hold on a second. I gotta get the whatchamacallit, the family tree. That's the thing though. I can't confirm that part of the family tree is correct. I seen it in a Facebook group. Mail, maybe you could help me out. So in the one of the family trees, I don't know if it's the big one that you had sent me, or I seen like a smaller one where it shows that angel is Linda's granddaughter. Is that correct though? Because before I say, put that out there, I want to make sure I got the right thing. I mean, I guess I could just say allegedly. I don't know for sure if that's correct. Let me see. Hold on, let me see if it has it in here. Linda, no, it doesn't say, huh? Not on. Hold on, guys, just give me 1 minute. All right, let me just go to chat. I don't know. I feel like this live is kind of been a mess in a way. I think I tried to cram stuff in today, like too much stuff. And my brain felt it. Like I was trying to do too much stuff and like learning the family and the family tree and who everybody is, like too quick. And I got overwhelmed, I think. Let me see if I can find that family tree. The one where it says Linda's daughter's daughter is that angel. Hold on. Oh yeah, it's right here. I don't know if it's correct here. I'll show you. I am so itchy because that fan is blowing pieces of my hair all over my face and neck. Oh my gosh. It's making me itch. Okay. So here is that family, one of the family trees. So a lot of the family trees will have Linda, but it doesn't have anything in depth on it. But this one from 3 hours ago, she put right here. So she starred the ones that accused of the crime, the S crimes, but it shows Linda Siders, which remember, Linda is the one that was in the picture of Christine and Gary Sr. and was like, oh, my parents or whatever, the one that was seen outside the house, that Omar Street. So people were like wondering, was she aware? Did she go in the house and see like the how it was or what? Um, so it looks like if this is correct, she has two daughters, Tammy and Tessie, and one of her daughters' daughter is that Angel, who was previously married to Brian Doss, and they have one child together. Previously in a relationship with a different Brian Lamb, one child. Most recent previous relationship, James Cremian's accused abuser, currently engaged to her ex brother in law, Philip S. Doss. Wait, most recently, most recent previous relationship, James accused abuser, currently engaged to her ex brother in law, Philip Doss. Oh, because she was married to Brian, and then her Brian's brother is who she is now engaged to. Okay. So this is all allegedly alleged. I haven't been able to confirm like this family tree. I don't know if they got it right, and that is. Oh, hold on a second. But there's a case that's kind of the SA case for this, and I'll bring up. There's a document that I found, and I could probably just go to the court, but I haven't. So somebody had posted a little screenshot of a document from the court of this Angel case. All right, hold on. Let me bring it up. So now we see if this is correct, if this tree is correct, Angel would be okay. Wait, Linda is Gary's sister, so Tessie and Tammy would be Gary's nieces. Angel would be his great niece. Just to how to give a perspective. Okay. Now this doesn't involve this charge that I'm going to bring up doesn't involve Gary, but it's just interesting. It's all in the family, right? All right, let me grab it real quick. Hold on. I could look more into it if you guys are interested, but right now I just have the one little quick little summary of what it consists of. Hold on. I just want to make sure that redacting. Gosh, what is wrong with this family? There's too much, dude. I'm gonna zoom in just so I can read it. Hold on. Sorry, share to make sure it's okay. There's sometimes there's certain people I take extra precautions for different reasons. It's just from like experience on I don't want to say too much, but just on how I see some people maybe sometimes you have to take extra, precautions on certain types of people for some reason. Um and sometimes I'm wrong and I miss something but that's why sometimes I may redact some things more because of some different experiences. I'm like, okay, this one seems like it's going to be something that I have to redact for different reasons. Okay. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So that's why I just want to make sure I have it all. Okay. Oh shoot, I missed that. Hold on a second. I can't draw a straight line. I'm just doing it by hand. Okay. How's everybody doing now? Okay, so here is this angel. So obviously that Crimmins guy, he got arrested and then she got charged. So I'll read why. Complaint being first duly sworn according to law says that and or about March 12th, 2026, continuing through April 3rd, 2026, in Gallia County, Angel did recklessly as the parent, guardian, custodian, person having custody or control of a child under 18 years of age, to wit, Jane Doe, create a substantial risk to the health or safety of the child by violating a duty of care or protection or support, resulting in serious physical harm to the child involved. On June 10th, 2026, Detective Shalyn Schultz was notified by CPS that a report had come in of a suspected SA abuse involving the victim's sister and suspect. So involving her daughter and her daughter's sister. So that'd be two of her daughters, right? Is that what? And the suspect. Detective Schultz responded to the place and spoke with Jane Doe. So this was in 2026. So Jane Doe would be 13. When asked if anyone has touched her inappropriately, Jane Doe responded that it had been taken care of. When asked what that meant, Jane Doe stated that she had told her mom, and her mom had a plan in place to take care of it. Detective Schultz inquired further, and Jane said that when she was 9 years old, James Crimmins began touching and rubbing her private parts. Like I said, I do not disclaimer. I'm going to read another disclaimer because this is all sensitive stuff. I do not promote, condone. I forget how I should word this because sometimes I'm tired. Oh, okay. I do not condone, promote, or glorify any of these topics or the actions discussed. This is for educational and news reporting purposes only. So, yeah, I don't even know if I should read this, but so began touching her, rubbing her, and she was 10 or 11. Um, also reported that when she was 10 or 11, he began sticking his private part into her private part. She disclosed this continued regularly until June 9th, 2026. Jane Doe stated he had sex with her twice. And you could read the rest, right? So, wow. So she's 9. So at 9, he began not just, I should say just, no. At 9, he began touching her. So basically grooming her. I guess the grooming would have probably even been before that, really. And then he began the touching. And then 10 and 11 is when the sex and unprotected. And wow, it's just, I hmm. So wait, let's see how long ago. So when she was 9, that would have been a couple years ago, right? But then it continued regularly. No, wait, I read that wrong. Okay. It didn't just happen twice. Sorry, I read that wrong. So at 10, when she was 10 or 11 is when he started doing that. Well, he rubbed her when he was 9, and then 10 and 11 was when he stuck his private part into her private part. And then she disclosed this continued regularly until June 9th, 2026. So on that day, on June 9th, 2026, is when she's saying that it happened twice that day. So that, yeah. So I'm trying to think. So that's June. I want to see when this charge happened. Hold on. When is this report? Hold on. I got to see. 11th day of June. Okay. So June 9th it happened. And then 2 days later is when it looks, well, at least they're making their statement. So it looks like she went to authorities like soon after, it looks like, from what I'm gathering. Um, but but the I'm trying to understand how long that the mom knew. That's what I'm trying to get, because the mom is now charged with this. So I'm trying to figure out how long she let it go. So it was reported. So 9 years old is when it started. So it started a couple years ago, but then 10 or 11. Well, I don't know then. How old she is now, actually. No, never mind. I don't know when it started. I have to do the math because so on June 9th, when it twice, that's when it probably okay, I'm going to the cops, but I don't know. Whenever she was 10 or 11, I'm not sure how old she is when she now, though. Oh, let me do the math. So oh, yeah, she's 13. I already did that. So 13. So, yeah, a couple years ago is when the sex started. And then more than a couple, like 3 or 4 years ago is when it started. So, I want to know when she went to her mom. It must, you know what I'm saying? Because if she went to her mom years ago and her mom waited that, didn't say anything, or did she just tell her mom and then went to the cops? But I don't think, because if she just told her mom like June 9th and then they went and reported it, then her mom probably wouldn't have been charged. You know what I'm saying? But maybe it's because she told her mom. Did I miss a detail? Hold on. Maybe I missed it and it said that. Um, Unless if there's some kind of neglect that enabled it to happen. Hold on. I don't know. I guess we'll see how that plays out. These people are just um yes, thank you. I don't know. I think that's all. I think we went over a lot. My voice is, I feel like I'm losing my voice. That's sick. These people just need to go to jail. I think the ciders are going to go away for a long, long time. Now with all those charges, yeah, they should. And Brandon, I think Brandon's 21 charges. I don't think he'll see the light of day, at least not for a long, long time. And I hope that Jessica leaves him. I'm sure it sounds like she probably will if she untagged herself. And I would hope she wouldn't be sticking around supporting him. You know, um, so now as far as like Christina and Gary Siders Sr., is how much would they have known about the 2020 21 that stuff? I wonder. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. I'm just makes me mad. It makes me mad that they just that supervised freaking parent supervision or whatever in 2020 and 2021, especially after they found the lead, and then the they don't want to give them access to the children or the upstairs. Like, no, you say no, I don't get no, we are going to get access. We're going to go talk to the children, every one of them, as much as we want. We're going to hear what they have to say. We're going to make sure the whole house is safe for the kids, because what if the upstairs had some kind of like lead? I mean, I guess they were getting the medical treatment after, and I think what they were saying is they started to take them to the doctors temporarily, and they were healthy, because so wherever that lead thing. But I mean, what if that happens again? I don't know. It just makes me sick. Hi, Elvin. These people need to be in jail. All right. Well, this kind of was a mess, but at least what I'm saying. Sometimes I have better lives than others. I don't know what to do next. I have a feeling like I think I feel like there won't be much more stuff to go over in this case for a minute. I wish I would have done the Clancy trial. I always miss it. I'm always like, okay, I missed like some of the big cases trials because I don't know. I think everything was happening with the David case, and I was just freaking zoned into that stuff. And I don't know. Sometimes I don't know which cases are gonna be like people are really gonna be interested, because there's trials like all the time. So it's like I can't cover every trial, and I guess I've been bad at figuring out which cases people would be really into. I thought that was like an open and closed type case. I remember I did one video on it. I don't know if I mixed it with other cases, but I definitely talked about it when it first happened. So whatever year that was when it first happened. I mean, when it actually happened, I remember talking about it in my on my channel. But I didn't realize like cases like that where there's some kind of like, could there be something else going on? I like to look into those kind of cases. So I don't know as far as Patrick, what do you guys feel about that? I feel like I can't really judge because I haven't watched the trial. So I feel like for me to say one way or the other, I don't feel like I have the right until I at least familiarize myself with the facts of the case. Now I've watched a couple people go over like why they think Patrick could have done it. So I know some of the little details of what makes people think that, but I need to know like the facts so I could see if it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? My mom's been watching the trial and she's like, no way, absolutely not, that Patrick didn't have anything to do with it. But see, I don't know the details as in, um, is it possible? What was he on camera at the time it happened? I know he went to the store or pick up food, right? Was he seen? Is there a possibility? I would need to know all those little details. If there was a possibility that he could have been there, but like, did the details show that no, he was not definitely at the house because he was on camera? So I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody think he's involved? My mom's like, you should do a poll and see what people think. Okay. No, I don't know. That's why I say I can't say because I don't know. Um, my thing was the I was talking with one person at my appointment because she thinks he did, and I was like, and that's when I started learning that people actually thought that. I was like, what? Really? It's like, why? Um, and you know, my argument back was like, that makes no sense because why would he leave her alive if he did it? Because he wouldn't, he leaves her alive, he wouldn't know, like some people say, well, she wouldn't remember, but how would he know for sure that she wouldn't remember? He leaves her alive, and then what if she does remember? And let's say it's him, and she does, and she's like, no, it was all him. Like, so if he did it, he would have made sure she wasn't alive, in my opinion, for her to be able to say that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my biggest thing. Like, what he wouldn't have risked her being like, let's say, surviving like she did and like remembering saying, oh my god, no, he pushed me off and blah blah blah, and then you know what I'm saying. So that part never really made sense to me, or that never really, like, I've been thinking about it forever. No, that part didn't make sense to me, doesn't make sense to me, I should say. um and the fact that, you know, she saying that she remembers doing it, right? But then, you know, yeah, I guess the argument will be she, maybe there's some false memories and she can't remember, and then she thinks, well, I must have did it because they're saying I did it, Patrick's saying he told me. I can't really remember what happened, so she's, you know, creating these false memories in her head, which is possible. But the thing, like I said, that doesn't make sense is the fact that he wouldn't have left her alive then, you know. So yeah, I just can't see it. I can't see it. um and then also, you know, she, and then the I was, when I was talking to that Grace, oh shoot, oh, it lost. So I was talking to a person that thinks he did it, and she was like, well, um something about like he changed his shirt. I'm thinking, okay, so he changed his shirt between the store and the restaurant or something. See, I don't know all these specifics, so if that's even true, can you see that he changed it, or so I can't really have a say because I don't know if this stuff is really legit. The reasons they're saying they think it could be him, I don't know. Is there any truth to like, is there a truth that he really changed his shirt? Like, is there proof? Where are you getting that information from? Maybe he did, but maybe that's not abnormal with the specifics of the case, which I don't know. I mean, I know the general thing of the case, but I don't know like the little details, the specifics. My mom's been telling me things from watching it, but yeah, I'd have to watch it all. Now I'm so behind. Um, and another question, do you think she should get the insanity? Now, with what I know, like I said, I don't know much, but what I do know of the case, my opinion on that is yes, I do. I think she should. And I think she will. I think she'll get the insanity. And remember, that's not her getting off. She's still going to do a lot of time, I imagine, if she gets it in that area of the facility. And they say sometimes that's worse because you're with the crazy people. So that could, if you're not really needing it, that could be way worse. If you're just lying about it, that could be horrible, way worse than jail. But I understand, like, if she gets that sentence, she will have the opportunity or the possibility of getting out. You know what I'm saying? And if she doesn't win or get found guilty, she may not get the possibility of parole. I don't know if it's that an option, no parole, and then she can never get out. So I don't know. With what I know, I think I would vote for, yeah, insanity for what I know so far, but I need to know more to really be able to say for sure. Really? That quick? I thought they would have to I thought it wouldn't be that quick. You think it'd be that quick? Is that what they're saying? That would be a very rare case. That quick? Really? I wouldn't think 40 days. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't think she should get out in 40 days. I thought like it would be like years before, but huh. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go. I have a appointment in the morning. Ugh, I'm not looking forward to it. I just want to sleep in. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Yeah, I don't know what I'll do next. If there's any new developments in this case, if not, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna end up choosing a trial next, and it's gonna be one that nobody's really interested. Because once you start, you don't know if it's gonna be like, so many people are gonna be into it. I never would have guessed. I mean, there's just so many trials. There's so many cases that Just nonstop, I feel like. What's next? What's the next one coming up? And nobody's watching Tupac. I actually watched some of that. Um, that is current, right? Because I've been I think it was Law and Crime. It's they're playing some of it. I don't know if they have the whole thing though. I gotta look, but I watched some of it. I don't know if are they live streaming that one though, or am I just catching like after the fact they're playing it? But I think because everybody's watching the other one. Um, Shauna? Who Shauna? Oh, thanks, she fell in love. Who's Shauna? No, it's just my look. I just have that look. Not confused. It's when I'm like looking at something. Not confused, just like learning. And I guess I have a look that looks like I'm confused. Her ex Mario was just convicted. Okay, I don't know who Shauna is. Yes, thank you. I don't, yep, exactly. I don't pretend that I know it all or like, you know what I'm saying? I'm more like, I'm not too like proud to be like, I don't know. Well, we'll find out. Thank you, she Felon. You know me. You know me. Shauna Gardner. That sounds actually familiar. Hold on, let me look her up, see if it rings a bell. Shauna Gardner. Have we talked about it, Mela? Wait. Hold on a second. Shauna. Why does she does look familiar, but I'm trying to think if I wait, that's not. Why did it bring up something else? All right, is that it? Hold on a second. Why is it bringing up like Shauna Gardner and her strange husband, Jared, and his second wife? I'm trying to remember why. Hold on, I'm gonna share this. Why I know this? I feel like. Hold on a second. So the trial already happened then. Oh wait. Oh. That one, the Microsoft one, is that what this one is? Wow. Attorneys argue that the state's largely circumstantial case failed to place him at this. That's why I have looked into it. That was way back. Oh, it's not Microsoft. Didn't it just say Microsoft? Or I might have said the wrong thing. Hold on, hold on. Where did it just say that? Attorneys emphasize. Oh, right. Microsoft executive. So I'm looking at the wrong one? It says 33-year-old Microsoft. It's gotta be. Yeah, it was the Microsoft one. I remember. Yeah, I remember that. My one Soul for Music, when that happened, one she's like, you should cover that. So I have looked into it a little bit after it happened. Yes, this is the Microsoft one. He worked at Microsoft, the victim. Um, well, that will be a big trial. When does that start? Did you say? Wait, did it say? Well, you'll let me know. Text me. You're right. That's gonna be a big one. I would guess. Watch me be wrong, and it's not. But I feel like when it first happened, it was. I feel like it will. It should be. I would think because it has that mystery too. It's not like one of those shut and open shut cases. There's some mystery. There's like I don't know. It's just got some of the aspects where I feel like people will want to try to figure it out and stuff. So yeah, text me the details. Don't let me miss it. I got to do a trial. I keep saying that, and then every time a new trial starts, I'm freaking busy with something else, and I miss out. Well, Mayla, just tell me. You know what? Just put that on hold. Don't miss this, because I regret it every time. I regret it every time. Oh, I don't know. She fell in, does he? Ah. All right, I better go. Bye, guys. Thank you, everybody. Oh, I'll put those files on the members. So if you any nobody's or if nobody, if you guys aren't familiar with how that works with members perks, well, for the videos, it just goes out as members. We used to have to put everything in the community post, but anything else that's not a video, it'll be in like go out in the community post. So like obviously it's a file. So go to the posts. It's not even called community post anymore, but go to my posts and you'll see I'll put like the links to the files. Um, I'll do the two big ones. I could even do like the other ones that you could find on the public court, but I feel like you know what I'm saying, that you could just go and look up on the court site. But right now I'll put the two that I got from a request. Um yes, okay, Mila. All right, guys, I'm gonna go put that on my post for the members. If so, check it out if you're interested, and I will see you later. Wait, who's new? Mama? Mama? Mama Mia? Oh, Gray Rock. Are you new? Gray Rock Reality. I do like your profile. I like all the colors. Is that a flower? See, I like that kind of it's cool. All right, bye guys.